morning, good afternoon, good evening, everybody. However you happen to be watching or listening to this, I want to welcome you to the Gaming Circle podcast. The podcast where we were excited this week because we had a great guest, we had some topics, and then the news gods just went completely haywire, and now we just have too much to talk about. We might not even get to what games we've been playing because there's just too much news to talk about this week. It's just crazy. But before we get started,
Elden Ring. That's it. We finished that segment.
We're done. All right. See you later, gentlemen. Before we get started, I will, yes, as he likes to do, and interrupting my intro, I will first introduce the man, my brother from another mother. Some call him my evil twin. The man handing out Al Bundy shoes left and right this week for obvious reasons. Mr. Everborn Saga, how are you doing this Saturday, sir? How you doing, man?
Well, I'm eating a burnt sausage, egg, and cheese sandwich from the deli across the street from me. Yeah, it's terrible. It's disgusting.
Didn't they say New York had all the best food? What happened?
I don't know what happened. I don't know. He was slacking it this morning. But
okay,
you may see on Twitter that I changed my name to Everborn Stop Crying Saga.
He does that from time to time.
That is a prelude to what we will talk about later today. But I feel like we have some podcasting royalty in the house today. Let's get to our esteemed guest. Always a pleasure to podcast.
Esteemed guest, indeed.
I'll let you do.
Before I do though, as we continue the tradition as we do on this show, highlighting those who are slanderous, our first chat this morning comes from Mr. Aloysius Augustus, who says, "Wow, somewhat on time. I'm proud of you, gentlemen. Everborn did not make you late."
Wow.
Yeah. Welcome, Lucius. Appreciate you, brother. And on that note, let us welcome our esteemed guest. If you have been around gaming and gaming discourse in any form, you know this man. And serendipitously, he recently announced that after 8 years of being on the Basement Arcade Arcade podcast, he's stepping away for other things. And it just so happened
that swoops in like a vulture.
It just so happened that we had been talking to this man before he made
Sure.
But we are so thrilled to have him here. Way back when I was just a viewer and a consumer of this content, he was one of the voices that I always appreciated listening to then and still now. Whenever I see him on a show, the show is going to be fire. And since he's gracing us with his presence here, our show is blessed. So thank you so much, Mr. Eric Jackson. Welcome so much. Thank you so much for joining us. How are you doing today, sir?
No, I'm doing great. I was, EB, I was just telling Kay before we started, I love your time slot because you know how it is. Dad problems, adulting problems.
Mm-hmm.
We're already up.
Sir.
That's right.
Yeah,
indeed.
I've been up since 5:30.
Preach on it, man. Preach on it. So a 10 o'clock time is beautiful, man, because you get in, you get to get some gaming talk in, start your day.
Get the juices right, and then you off on your day. Yes.
You off doing all the other stuff you have to take care of. But like real talk, long overdue. I appreciate the invitation. You were two of my favorite people in the community, and yeah, I'm just happy to be here with you guys today.
By the way, I do have a nickname for you, sir.
What's that?
Just in listening to you for all these years. So I, at least this week, am Everborn Stop Crying Saga. And you are Eric Stop Simping for Corporations Jackson.
Speak on it, man.
One thing you preach.
That is
we're going to have a lot of conversation this week.
You have to separate your fandom from like the corporate. Understand the relationship in the corporate. Like, I'm an Apple user. I know they're overcharging me.
You one of those?
I can get comparisons, but I mean, in the world that I work, design, photography, stuff like that. I've always worked on Mac. The ecosystem is what it is. I've tried the PC thing with Adobe. It just doesn't feel right to me. So I was like, all right, I'll pay the premium. It is what it is. But hey, all my stuff talks. It all works. But I'm not a company man. I know they're jerks. I know they could do better. It is what it is, and that's how I feel about all of them.
You and I have that conversation all the time. And
all
how much, here's the thing. I'm actually a Windows guy, right? And I came from Windows Phone. To me, that's the pinnacle of phones, but it didn't work out, right?
So I'll do him one better. He doesn't come from Windows Phone. He made a Windows Phone app. It takes a special level of gangster to make a Windows Phone app.
So hold on, more than one. And I will add that the Ariel's World game was the #1 2D platform of the week that it came out. Paid 2D platform.
There you go.
Anyway, besides all of that, so when that died, I just went to, because I had no more passion for mobile phones at that point. I went over to iPhone, and I hate Apple, right? But and you know, Kay Asante, I've been trying to switch to this Surface Duo for the past year and a half, and I can't do it. Every time I try to go over to Android, I'm just like, I can't. And then my whole family starts like shaming me because I'm messing up the green bars. Messages. You force you to stay in that ecosystem. So
I know. Yep.
Like
I know what we are.
That's why I can speak on it, because I did the switch. Like I went over to Android for a couple of years actually, because I like the fact that it was open. Like I could like customize it the way I want. And then I got to the point where it was like, you know, my daughter was born, my whole family is on iPhone. I was like, and they're like, yo, I didn't get that message. I didn't get those pictures that you sent. I'm like,
and that video came out.
My wife, babe, we got to go back.
But you see though, okay, and we're going to turn this into a tech podcast, because this is why I refuse to live in one ecosystem.
And then when you got the Apple Watch,
I have both of them, and I have an Apple Watch. Yes, I have both of them. I walk daily driver, both iPhone and Android, because I refuse to be locked into one of their ridiculousness. Right. I refuse it.
So what you're saying is, even though you don't want to be on Apple, they force you to get it anyway. So now you got to walk around with two phones. They
force you. Yes, they do. They do. But you know what? One does better in one aspect, and the other does better than another. You know, one day we'll get that universal. You know, when somebody finally buys. When somebody finally buys LG and then strips their phone, their TV company away from
WebOS is dead,
and WebOS comes back to win everything.
Never getting it back. They might not even keep it on the TVs.
I know, right? They're taking all the WebOS-ness from the TVs now. It's so sad. Anyway, let us get back to the show, because there are two things. One, I literally have a 2-hour limit this week, because I have my granite countertop guy coming to put the granite countertops in today at 12. So we got 2 hours. Adulting.
That's the time slot, baby.
That's right. And two, although you all are seeing what's on my screen, yes, I'm playing more Loot River. Yes, there'll be more conversations about Unsouled, which is really great. Indie, Trek to Yumi, which is really great. I'm sure that there's a universe where Everborn Saga continues the block of Elden Ring talk. You know, we will also touch on a little bit of what Mr. Eric Jackson has been playing this week. But before we get to these crazy news topics, we must talk Halo latest episode. We're forgoing what we're playing for the purpose of Halo latest episode. Please,
in other
Eric,
words,
tell me you've seen
I didn't bring back on the Real. Now we have to do it.
No. That's not why. It's just this episode specifically has been very explosive online, and I feel like it's worth a conversation. And yes, I wish we had on the Real, and we don't. So the public shaming continues there, but that's not what this is about.
It's coming.
Good, sir. And I will start with you, Eric. Have you seen the latest episode? How do you feel about Halo TV show in general before we get there?
Okay, here's where I'm at with the Halo TV show. I've only seen the first episode when they put it up on YouTube, because I was holding on, because I said, you know what, I want to kind of wait till it's all there.
And before we go, real quick, before we continue, don't worry, there will be no spoilers. I understand, you know, there'll be no spoilers. We'll give our impressions, but we will not spoil what happens. I promise you. Unless you've already heard it, you will not hear it from us. Please, Eric, continue.
All right. So I know we got the perk in Game Pass for Paramount Plus. I said, you know what, I'll hold that, because I can't do another subscription service. That's like, I can't. And I've looked over what they have. Yeah, it's not enough.
One day they'll bundle it together. It'll be amazing. It'll call a bundle. It'll be awesome.
I can't wait, because okay, what was the
then
whole
we'll go back
purpose
to
of
cable
having
days.
these? Right, but what was the whole purpose of having this? Like, to get away from cable, cord cut. And now I feel like we're back. By the time you add it all together, you're like, man, I'm spending what I was spending in cable.
Indeed, basically.
Right. So with that, I have not done the whole Halo show yet. I did the first episode.
Okay. But you haven't done the rest.
No, I haven't. No, I keep seeing the discussions, and I'll be honest, I'm not a person that usually is led by, you know, opinions and letting people kind of push or sway me just what I'm seeing. But I gotta say, this is probably one of the first things that has done this to me. I'm like, man, this is a travesty. What's going on with this show? Just watching the reactions, right? So I said, and I'm also not a person that has to be led or think that something can't change from what the original thing is, right? But I also feel there's a tight line that you have to walk with that. Like, you can't get too buck wild. you know, it's like saying you can't have like, oh, sorry, we're going to reboot Star Wars, and now everybody is like these different characters you don't recognize. So just watching sort of the back and forth over it, and what I saw in the first episode, I was kind of like, it's not bad, but then I wasn't like enamored with it. So I said, you know, I can wait. I can wait until it's all there, then I'll go watch it. I am going to watch it all and give my overall thoughts. So hopefully once I do that, I can come back and we can talk about the whole thing.
So let me ask you, what are you as a Halo fan?
What's that?
Are you a staunch Halo fan? Are you a casual Halo fan? Are you like a hardcore love Halo? What is Halo to you? Because I think that matters.
Do you think Master Chief should be able to run? That's the real question. That'll get to the heart of how much of a Halo fan he is.
Can he sprint? Is he sprintable? Is he sprint worthy? What do you think?
I think every character should evolve. So yeah, I see. Yeah, he should.
Okay.
He should be able to sprint, but I guess that's
where that comes
in. Can he take off his helmet?
Can
he take off other parts of his armor? No, I'm just kidding. We're going too far. No. Stop.
The only part I don't agree with. Again, I don't need the show or whatever movie, whatever they want. I don't need it to be 1-to-1 what the game is, right? But if you're gonna do that, I feel that's the thing. Maybe you leave it to the end because you know you have Halo fans coming in for this, right? And they're gonna be very opinionated. And the first thing you do is take off the helmet and then dude's naked and all this other. I'm like, what is going on here? If you're gonna do all that, let's keep some of that for the second season and take the helmet off at the end.
They did it like Bethesda. Rip the Band-Aid off. It's not coming. Move on.
But I don't think it's necessarily a problem to remove the helmet, but you build up the suspense through the season because we know we're there. We're Halo fans. We're there. The people who are coming in as, oh, that looked interesting. I have no idea what Halo is, but this looks interesting. You get them enamored with the fact that who is this mystical dude? He has this helmet. What's going on? And then you take it off later. There he is. There's porn stash. You know, right? But to answer your question, I am a Halo fan. I don't know if I'm the hardest of cores. Like I've not read all the books. I've not done all that, but I absolutely love the lore and the world of Halo. I have Master Chief. You can't see them from here, but there's statues, and I got the helmet and the whole nine.
Okay.
I love the world of Halo. Yeah. You know, I love what it offers. But I'm also a person that understands too, like you have to move things forward. And we can get into that another point. But
you know, Everborn, you can tell me if you think I'm mistaken here, but based off of what I'm hearing from him, and he hasn't seen any of the show in earnest, I think he'll be okay with it. I think you'll walk away from this show once you've seen it. You'll go, I don't understand what all the drama is, because I think a lot of the drama that's surrounding the show and spoiler alert, I love this episode. I love it. There are some issues with all the shows as they are, but this episode was great. It was capital G, great. I enjoyed it.
Cheeks.
I was gonna say, like, get down. 1 week is the cheeks, and I don't. This week he's clapping cheeks. And it's
to get down. It's to get down. You know. Welcome, Mr.
This ain't your daddy's Halo.
That's right. This definitely ain't your daddy's Halo for sure. This ain't Halo you watch with your kids. I'll just say that. This is not
all right. That. So let me say one thing about it.
Go ahead.
Right, man. And I was saying this to you offline, but just this is for the benefit of the audience here. I think, and the part, and not an issue, but I think some of the consternation you're seeing about it from the Halo hardcore. On the one hand, they're telling you this is the blue universe. Forget about whatever you know about Halo, right? It's you know, like the MCU is not exactly like the comics. They're doing their own thing. Basically, fine. Yes. But on the other hand, they kind of expect you to know everything about Chief, because it's a lot of things they're saying that Chief would do and telling you how he is, instead of, you know, giving that time to simmer and showing you that over maybe multiple seasons, right? So I think that is part of it for some people. But I don't think everybody's like you. A lot of people are complaining about the dumbest shit, which is, oh, the Covenant are too bulky. They should be skinnier, right? And I'm like, okay.
That's a nitpick,
right? Yeah. And because you cannot, you saw the first episode, right?
Yeah.
You cannot watch this show and say to yourself with a straight face that these people did not play the game, pay attention to the games, or know it, because it is so at least visually accurate to like 90%, right?
And they drop nuggets left and right for all the Halo fans.
The weapons,
yeah,
all those things, the
armor, the way the shield sound.
Didn't they say that themselves though? Didn't they say like they didn't really?
What's his name said that?
No.
They were wrong about that.
No. That was in context to when they went to the 343 offices, right? And
Kiki
they
Wolf
took that out as a headline.
Come out and said that was overblown. Like she was literally on set, and they have video of her on set daily, literally going, put this here, put this there. You know,
Kiki Wolf, whatever her name is, she was there the whole time. There were 343 people there the entire time they filmed it, and that is why it looked so visually accurate to the game.
Yeah, I don't think
that's the reason why. That's the reason why the armor is the way it is. It's the reason why, even though they can't use Marty O'Donnell's score at the beginning of the episode, you always hear that beginning sound that's like, oh, they're gonna use it, and then they go to the left because they can't use it, but they'll put it in there because they know you want to hear it. You know,
aesthetic was never any of the issue that I had with what I saw. None of that.
Right now, for me, my biggest issue with the show is the uneven production value. Now, I didn't have that issue with the latest episode. I felt like, and I'm not spoiling it for you, but the latest episode felt like a big budget TV show because the show jumps from being like big budget,
so messy on a Saturday morning. I'm sorry, it's so messy on a Saturday morning. Stop it.
Sort of CW production level.
Yeah,
and sometimes the CG gets stupid, and then some of the character interactions do feel forced. But now I'm judging it as a regular narrative outing, right? And I think I think it was good enough, and I think the latest episode damn near touched greatness. But that's one episode; it's not the whole show. So me right now, like I was probably at a 7 for the show, and because this latest episode was so good, I'm at a 7.5. And we'll see how they finish it. Maybe it can come to an 8, but it's to me, in my estimation, by no means like a 9 or 10 or anything like that. But I do think it's good, and it's getting better. And if they keep up what they did, because I'm not just talking about like production value. I'm talking about editing, directing,
the story,
everything in the last episode was top tier TV, and it was like this is what I wanted to see in a Halo show. What we got last week, apart from the weirdness.
I will say I have an issue with a small piece, and I've talked to you about that, Everborn, and I know you haven't seen it. I will keep it as vague as possible. Mm-hmm. It seemed. Did you guys ever watch? You guys have seen Machete. You've seen Machete. You've seen Once Upon a Time in Mexico. You've seen Desperado, right? If you've seen those movies, you know that they tell the story.
Trejo fan.
Well, of course I am. Of course I am. When you've seen those movies, you know that there's a hidden second film that never was made, but they keep referencing it in Once Upon a Time in Mexico. Have you seen that? Where it's like there's flashbacks to the second movie where this happened, and it didn't make, the movie was never made. They literally just made flashbacks to make it as if you were with them on the second movie. That's what this show feels like. It feels like, oh, you've been on adventures with us all this time. Remember when we say, yo, John 117, he's a killer. He's out there murking fools. He doesn't take any crap from anyone. We don't have to show you that because we showed you that before. No, you didn't. It's a hidden episode that has never aired. There's a lot of tell, not show, which is detrimental because they're leaning too heavily on us, the fans who know this stuff, who've been with Master Chief, right? But you've already established that this is not that world. So everything we know should not be canon, should not be, sacred cows. They can come and go easily. You can kill anybody off you want to, right? You can turn anyone into a villain at any moment, right? But you keep telling us how this dude is a badass, but then when you show us, he's a freaking wallflower, and he continues to be a wallflower. And he continues doing the opposite of what you tell us that he is.
No, but see, I disagree with you, right? In that complaint.
Please, go ahead.
Because we did see him be a badass in the first episode, and I think like episode 4 or 5, we saw him be a badass.
One episode, one scene of badassery does not justify the whole show.
But that's what kind of goes to what I was saying before. Just again, it's amazing how you can pick up on the temperature of what's going on with the show just by watching the timelines and
just
some
by
of the things I've seen. So so we can jump around real quick. What you guys are saying, I agree with Everborn. I feel like they had a certain amount of budget, and this show, this is the type of show that needs a lot of production.
Yes.
And I wonder if part of it was like, yeah, we want to get into it, but we know, but y'all, the budget is too crazy for this, and we need to see how it kind of goes, because that's why I feel like he's so much out of the uniform, and they're trying to work with what they have. But I think you need to go balls to the wall. So I agree with you on that. But I want to say, I think this is an issue Halo has had for years of trying to figure out who the audience they need to speak to. Certain parts of it, they onboard people. Other parts of it is like, no, you've been here, so you should know what's going on. And I feel like you kind of have to get that middle ground of how you bring people in. That's why I said, in a show like this, it's your perfect opportunity. You can kind of hit both if you really think about it. You can please the fans by just making him that dude that oh, he's out there wrecking. Now, to talk about like the elites and everything, I didn't have a problem with them being bigger and bulkier. The first thing I thought as a fan was, I always kind of thought Chief was sort of almost the same height and size as some of them based on the scale we see him in the games. But okay, you can make him more menacing. That's fine with me. Make him more
threatening.
Kind
of bigger than any regular human, though.
That's a narrative choice that I'm like, for this show, let's go.
I have a problem with that. I'm like, that's a nitpick, right? In my opinion, that's a nitpick.
Everyone, if you see the latest episode, you'll realize, like, as he's walking among his peers, he is literally more than 2 heads above everyone. So
I'm wondering if they just hired short people or use CG.
I think so, because the Sangheili are big, right? The Covenant are big, right?
Right.
But like Master Chief is the biggest human in any room at any time. I think that is a camera choice that they've made, but it's an interesting one. He is a monster among.
But it's not supposed to be an interesting one, right? Like the Spartans are bigger than everybody.
Well, yeah, in the suits they are, but in this
not
it looks
in the
like
suit, like height wise, they're like 7 feet, whatever.
Yeah, they're trying to say that
whatever they inject them with,
them.
Make it. It bolts them and mutates them and it makes them grow and everything. But I don't have a problem with Covenant being bigger than a Spartan. That just shows that the Spartans are skilled, agile, and tough. But I do think that's always been an issue and something of an issue with Halos. In particular, like you definitely saw like in Halo 5, they almost assumed that everybody knew what was up. So if you came into that game to play, you'd be like, who? Okay, I played like the first couple of Halos and I kind of fell off and I'm coming back. Who's this?
And honestly, in that respect, I would give them a pass more in the gaming aspect because you're in the same medium. You're there to play the 5th of a multiple versions, right? So it stands to reason maybe you played the 4th, but if you're there for the show, like there's a big chance that you are not a Halo fan. You don't even know who John 117 is. You're just a dude who heard this interesting show and you want to check it out. And I feel like they're leaving a lot of that, some of that stuff, not all of it, but some of that stuff, leaving it to you as homework that you should know beforehand, which doesn't work in its favor, in my opinion. But you know what? Before we move on, there's one piece. I'll let you speak. I'll let you have the last word. There's one piece of criticism that I want to throw out there, and I don't see Pixelbit G in the chat. He was. Oh, I actually do see him. Welcome, sir.
Speaking of the devil.
Yes, he's speaking on his name, and he will appear. He said this on Twitter, and I completely agree with him. Say what you will about the show. You can say you like it. You can say you hate it. Where is Riz? Where is Kai? Where are these characters in Halo Infinite? Where are the skins for them in Halo Infinite? This week they dropped little trinkets, little keychains, if you will, that seem to suggest that it links to the show. I want the characters. Come on, this is the same show. You happen to have a show and a movie and a game launch at the same time. You're telling me you can't have skins to kind of thread that needle, the trans, what do they call it, transmedia of it all? That is a missed opportunity. Right? There's so many pieces of information and stuff they could add to the game that would make it even more like, hey, you're watching this show now, and now you get access to these interesting pieces of the puzzle that kind of fills out the lore even more. It's a wasted opportunity. They easily could have put these characters in the game. They could have done voiceover. They could have made those characters accessible through the season pass. Missed opportunity. Do you disagree?
Is that for me or for E?
less so because he's not familiar with these characters. But you've seen this. What do you think?
I don't believe that one medium, unless you're actually telling the same story and you're telling a transmedia story.
Sure.
I don't believe one should hinder or wait on the other. And what that means is
wait. I don't mean wait, but like, clearly you gave people Paramount Plus because there are Halo fans that will want to watch that show, right? And clearly there's a need for it because you did add stuff from the show to the game. You just added little keychains and stuff. If you're gonna do that, make it the actual characters. Make it something cool. But if you look at that campaign, in what aspect would the blue team? I'm not talking campaign. I'm talking the multiplayer, right? Season 2 just came out. You could have easily put skins in there for that armor for the Halo show. Just the armor. You don't even have to put the characters. Just the armor.
That armor is technically there, right? You can make it by customizing your stuff.
Not really. No, it's not. Yes, they took generic pieces. You could make it work, but you could literally go, "Oh, this is the armor for the Halo show." You could totally do that. I'm just saying.
I'm not.
What about what Lucius Augustus said? Like 343. Like
they can't even get the basic content.
When we asking them to start like going left,
brother, I'm with you on that, man. I'm with you on that. I just wish this was a world where they could walk and chew gum at the same time. Clearly, unfortunately, that's not happening right now. But
that's the thing that I kind of feel about Halo in general at the moment. It's sort of like. Depending on who you talk to, some people feel Halo is still important. Some people feel Halo's fallen off, and I don't know. Maybe it's somewhere in between. I don't know. I still think Halo is obviously an important enough property because people have a lot of opinions about it.
People love it.
Feel a certain way. Yeah,
people love it. So, people love to hate it, but they'll watch it every week.
But it's just that thing too, where it's like, I just wanted to kind of get back to that point to where it's sort of they're on that track where you just feel really good about everything that they're kind of working with.
Yeah,
it seems like a lot of what it is. It's like you have to. I think we give it grace as fans on certain characters. I'm not as hard on Halo in general. I'm just kind of hard on what's 343 doing. And I remember I actually spoke about this on Twitter once, and I had dudes coming at me. Now they were trying to like downplay Bungie's contribution to the whole thing. Like, are we trying to act like like Bungie were these like gaming gods and this and this and that? And I'm like, how are you gonna sit there and slander Bungie? I mean.
So
just because you want to make 343,
I like to your point, and I actually had this conversation with Brap offline. I think some people have. This is gonna sound like the wrong term, but some people have kind of aged out of the franchise, and it's almost as though nothing that they do, it doesn't matter. It just won't catch them anymore, just because. Their gaming tastes maybe have changed. They've matured. All those things may not apply to you anymore as a, 30, 40-year-old man as it did when you were in your teens and 20s, right? And so the Halo brand can seem stale, like in that aspect. And so that being said, to me, I think Halo itself is like, I am a person who doesn't put much time into multiplayer almost at all. And even when I was doing multiplayer, I was doing bots. So I hope you're there, Slow-Mo.
Bot master.
Right.
I'm
but that being said,
too, so.
Right. Like, I came from the 360 streets of multiplayer. When a 12-year-old white kid could call you out your name with no fear in his heart,
throw some profanities at you,
right? So I don't do much gaming online. That being said, to me, Halo, I thought they knocked it out of the park with the campaign, and some people didn't feel that way. But to me, this was the best this may not be saying much, but it's the best campaign since Halo 3. And Halo 3 is my favorite of the campaign. So it's probably my second favorite Halo campaign. And that's saying something. But I think what their struggle is they have to find their sea legs in terms of it being a service game, and it may never work as a service game. Maybe Halo shouldn't be a service game.
Yeah.
Right. And maybe it's just something you put it out with Forge, you got your arena stuff, and then that's it. But again, I could change that tune when whatever Certain Affinity is working on. They may be able to come in, make a battle royale mode that everybody wants to play, and then it can be a proper service game. But as it is right now, it really feels like they bit off more than they can chew. And even as much as I love the campaign, it feels edited.
Oh, right? Yeah.
It feels like there were things that were cut out. And I'm fine if those things come out later.
You can see it in the map, right? Yeah. Half of it is not accessible. Yeah, you can definitely see it in the map. Yeah.
I'm totally fine if they come out later. I think they did an expert job at editing it, but we need more. So that's what the game. But with the thing that I wanted to say about the show before, and I know we got to move on, is I don't necessarily need one medium to be encumbered by the other. And the show itself, I do not think it has disrespected any of the characters. I'm sorry. If you're into the Halo lore, you know that it is literally no big deal if a Spartan taking off their helmet.
See, I agree with you on that. The only place I disagree with you on that
is what people are used to. I get it.
No. The only place I disagree with you on that is actions that the chief has taken. He's been a bit of a boob, even though they say he's so smart. Actions, not his helmet, not he's doing this. So all of that is whatever. Like actions, a little bit.
Not to cut you off, because I was saying, go ahead. If episode to episode he just came back from the battlefield just murking and just destroying and just doing badass Spartan stuff, I honestly don't think people would have that much of a problem with him. But if it's like, but you're walking around helmet off, naked, this and that, and you're moping around all the time, it's like, wait a minute, this
getting girls.
Doesn't feel like John that way. I mean, again,
supposed to be interrogating people, instead you're laying them out like.
You guys, it's Halo, so a lot of it has to be action. But it sounds to me like a big portion of it hasn't really been action.
Well, honestly, in that sense, perhaps it should have been a movie.
Yeah, maybe, yeah. Although I do like the fact that it allows for them to investigate these characters more. With a movie,
I think you need to show
move forward, right?
I think gaming related stuff has shown that it seems to be a little bit better when you have a show you can flesh out. They could change the whole script second season,
and they've already.
If they take this feedback and they say, you know what, we see what people are saying, we're about to really put something behind this and really go for it. People have amnesia.
Exactly.
If you come back and you're still sort of in the middle of the road, people don't have amnesia. But if you come back with something that's just like, we're doing this, and it's bang, 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 and it's blood and guts, and it's whatever, then people are like, okay, first season is what it is, but now they're hitting it.
No, but this is the thing, man. I don't want us to kind of devolve into we just need explosions, right?
Well, hold on.
I love the idea of character development. And this is why I say I don't need it. I think if you don't have to do a Halo show where Chief is the lead character in it. I think the world is big enough for that. But if you are gonna make Chief the main protagonist of the show, then he has to take off his helmet.
Bro, just imagine what you just said. Imagine they did an ODST and they made like what's his name? What's the dude who played the old Uncharted, Nathan Drake, who's also in Nathan Fillion. He's also in ODST. Imagine if they made him his original character in ODST and made a show about it. Wow, that'd be amazing. Like normal people, they see the Spartans as gods as they do, but they're normal soldiers in a normal soldier, just like ODST, right?
Which has Squad always had their helmets off.
Yeah, exactly. He's always, you see his coiffed,
Well, that's a different generation of the Spartans, though. After they
wear them like suits. Right, yeah, they're easy.
That's the electric car generation of Spartans.
That's
exactly.
Right.
Chief and Blue Team of the muscle cars.
That's right.
Locking his team are like the electric, the Teslas of the.
Let us leave this episode here. I will be very, very.
I'll come
very
back if you guys will have me back once I watch the show.
Yeah,
let's pick this up because I would love to get more into it once I have more.
Indeed.
You already got the time slots, and you're doing well.
Hey, we're in there. That's good.
We're gonna send a contract to your lawyer. See if we can work something out.
We are eager to see how this season concludes. We're gonna keep watching it. Obviously there's a conversation to be had about this. I would say don't let the internet conversation dissuade you from watching it. It's an interesting show. It's good. If you like Halo in any way or shape or form, it's definitely worth watching. And
the writing is a little bit clunky, but I think they're getting better with it.
It's getting better as time goes on. You're absolutely right.
I'll say this, man. I'm not making the direct comparison before we move on. Seinfeld almost got canceled after the first season. Because it was rough.
And now it's considered the best show ever.
Yeah, it was like, this is rough. Second season on, it was on point. Let's go.
That's right. Hey. So okay. We will next week come back. We will definitely be talking more Halo for the audience, and we'll be talking about the season finale. And we think the show is worth engaging with, whether you're a huge Halo fan or you have issues. It's still worth engaging with, I think. And we'll keep talking about it. We will move on to some news stories.
I've never seen a show hate watched to this much.
This much, that's right. We'll move on to some news stories that we're talking about.
Game of Thrones.
But before I do, I say thank you guys so much. The chat is lit so far. I see Victor Alstein's in here, Joe Mo Money's in here, the usual suspects. I appreciate you all for showing up, for pulling up. I see we have a bunch of folks watching. Please hit the like button if you haven't done so. Consider subscribing if you haven't done so already. We're on the march to 1,000 subscribers by the end of the year. I see that we're on good pace, so thank you guys for continued support. Let us move on. Well, you know what? Before we move on, let me take a quick detour and ask E what he's been playing this week, because we all know what I've been playing. Heck, we all know what Everborn's been playing. Are you playing anything different real quick before we move on to the stories, Mr. Eric Jackson?
Yeah, I've actually I've been playing. I haven't picked it up this week because it's been a busier week, but hopefully today I'll get some more gaming in. But I started on Weird West and then jumped over to Trek to Yumi, and then finally started Kena. And I'm not a guy that can jump around anymore. As I've got, you know how it is. I've gotten old. I got to focus on a game. So
and listen, to that end, right? Like, you ever try to jump around to a game and then leave it and then come back to it and don't remember anything about the controls?
All the time. And it used to be I could do that. I come back a year later and remember what it was. Yeah. Now it could be like a week. I'm like, what was I doing?
Everyone's been advocating since we have Quick Resume and we have Game Pass, which throws a bunch of games at us. There should be a last time you were playing. This is the controls you were using. This is how
you know what though. Who do you call it? Did that very well. The Witcher 3. That's all I'm gonna say.
Yes, they did. Yes, they did. Yeah, they didn't do so much in the controls space, but more in the story, where you were going, kind of thing. They really did a good synopsis every time you logged in.
I went back to go and beat Spider-Man 2018. I had to go start a separate game from the beginning to remember how to do all the moves. Then go back to where I was.
And as I said last week, real quick, I have been loving Trek to Yomi. I actually finished it. It's about 4.5 hours, something like that. I have a bit of issues with some of the controls a little bit since I think we spoke about that already. The parrying is a bit fuzzy, but otherwise it's dripping with style, like amazing looking game. It's so good. The only game that I will throw in the mix before we move on, and I'll have footage for it next week or whatever, but Rogue Legacy 2. If you played Rogue Legacy 1, this is Rogue Legacy 2. If you like that roguelike where you keep repeating, and you get better at it, you get different weapons. This game is very, very unique, very special. I watched. I read the Season Gaming. Ainsley Bowden did a really good review of it. I've always loved the Rogue Legacy games. I played Rogue Legacy 1. I beat the whole game, 16 hours on one flight to the Netherlands, like all the way through. It was such a great game. And part 2 looks to have increased and bettered that formula in almost every way. So if you like that formula, it is definitely worth your checking out. Rogue Legacy 2, awesome game. But we will move on to some stories.
Wait, hold on, E. Were you finished telling us what you were playing?
Oh,
I feel like we cut you off.
No. I kind of ran through this. Those are the 3. I got to get back to Trek to Yumi because after doing Horizon, I was sort of I have Elden Ring in the wings.
Did you finish Horizon?
Yeah, I platinumed it.
Okay, awesome. I'm at the last boss. I need to get back to it. My PlayStation's back on now, so I'm gonna have to finish that. Okay.
So, but after doing that one, I said I can't jump into Elden Ring yet. I kind of need some palate cleansing, like some shorter games, some quicker experiences, and then I'll jump into Elden Ring because, like everyone was just saying, that is that game. And I know once I'm in it, I can't jump out of it. You cannot come out of like a From game and put down a few months and come back. I can't say you can't. I did that with Bloodborne. I put it down, I came back, but it took me about a week to get the feel back.
Swing.
In the muscle. It's all muscle memory.
I've been saying every week that I'm going to be playing Elden Ring till Starfield comes out, but now
you might finish that one before then, bro.
Welcome, someone backslap.
Oh, last thing. Hey,
go ahead.
Did you notice Kay Asante in the episode of Halo?
Yeah.
I have to say my character is the best character in the whole show, hands down. Let's move forward, shall we? Okay.
I saw that before I watched the first episode. Somebody posted it. I was like, when I watched the show, I was like, hot damn, they ain't lying. That's him, man.
and he actually is from where I am from, so that's why I look.
You're the same person. Talk about where you from. Don't let Kay Asante lie to you.
Yeah, I'm keeping all that Paramount Plus money under my chair, under the chair. It's fine. I'm here. But let's move on. Let's talk about what has been going on, because there's a lot that's going on, and I know people in the chat want to bring up some things as well that maybe we do not. So let us switch over real quick and start talking about some news stories. As you know, there's been a lot of negative news about PlayStation, about Xbox this week, but let us start where this week started. With this, and we won't spend too much time on this because I think we've already I've heard your opinion on it, Mr. Everborn Saga. I kind of want to hear your opinion on it, E, but I just want to, what did we think of this news? And for those who are not looking at my screen, this is when the Sony CFO, the chief financial officer, came out and basically said, long story short, Game Pass is great. We won't talk about Game Pass, but for us, we can't afford it. Am I wrong in my assertion in that? I'll start with you, E.
Hashtag we ain't got it.
We ain't got it. That's right. E, what do you think? Is that what he said? Like, people are taking his verbiage and saying, see, Sean Layden said it, Jim Ryan said it, now he's saying it. It's just not sustainable. Basically, he used big, nice corporate words to go, yeah, we ain't going to talk about them because they are a different situation. We ain't got it.
It's 100% true. It's 100% true in this regard. Let's put it like this. Let's break it down like this. If Xbox was just Xbox, if the company was just Xbox, and they made the console and they were moving into doing this, let's say no Game Pass was on the table, they were just Xbox, and they were like Sony, would they be able to do the Game Pass thing, right? And I say that to say, if you go to school and you're paying for school or whatever, right, and there's a kid in your class who has the rich parents, you guys do the same work, you bust your ass, you do your thing, you turn in the same assignments. The teacher considers yours to be better quality. He's good enough, like he does his thing, but he's seen differently because his parents have the money to put a new library wing on the school, right? So all he's saying is, we see what they're doing, but they're backed by a multi-trillion-dollar company. It's not just Xbox doing this. The company, they're like, we're the parents, we make the dough, and we want to see what you can do with this because it fits into what we do service-wise. So we give you the support. I got you, son.
That's right.
Go to school, do your thing. But if it was just that department trying to do this, it would probably be the same story. Like, this isn't really.
They probably ain't got it. That's right.
And then people kind of taking that and being like, oh, look, they ain't got to. No, their business model is this. So they're going to continue to put, not to say that they won't find a way to maybe have to get there. And that's what I said. If Game Pass is truly the disruptor, then you're kind of pushed to have to kind of address it. But right now, it's not the disruptor. They're doing something. They're trying something. And we'll see. That's why I kind of look at when people say, oh, they need to be day and date. They don't have there's no discernible proof that says they have to be day and date yet. But if the market shifts that way to where a couple of years from now, it's like, oh man, this really changed the game, then they'll have to address that. But right now, he's like, like Nintendo, we'll stay the course. We'll continue to put quality in what we're doing. This is the road we have to travel. We're going to invest in it this way and do that. Again, it's not right. It's not wrong. It's just a different model. That's what people have to get their heads around. Different business have different models. If every business did everything the same, you'd have a lot of businesses disappearing. You have to do what's right for your business.
Right. And to be
how about you, Mr. Everborn Saga? Speak on it. Yeah.
To be fair, at the moment, Microsoft is trying to change that business model, right? But Sony's doing what works. That being said, I actually appreciate these comments more than what Jim Ryan said the other day, because Jim Ryan didn't add the financial aspect to it. He just said games in a service would lower the quality, right? But what he's saying here is that for us, our company, our budget, our whatever it is, we would have to, in order to make something like that work, we got to lower the budget, and we can't spend enough. So that to me is more honest. And I appreciate that more. And two things can be true at once. One could be for Sony's business model and you know, their PlayStation's parent company, Sony, they can't do it without lowering the budget. And also the best top quality games, most expensive to produce games can go in Game Pass, and it can be, we think, sustainable. I think those two statements can be true. And a lot of this is comparing, it is apples to apples in a way. And I'll come to that in a second.
Well, it's apples to apples to us in our wallet as consumers. We want but to them, it's obviously different, you know.
So that's the next piece of it, right? So I from a business standpoint, I understand what Sony's saying, and I keep telling people this. There is a reason Doctor Strange and No Way Home come to theaters before they go to streaming.
That's right.
Right? Yeah. They know they can make more money, and you just have to be, as long as we're being honest about that, not saying just by the very nature of being in a subscription service, that means you're low quality. That's the thing that I take umbrage with. Now, as a consumer, though, Sony is fixing their mouth to say that I got to pay $18 a month for their PlayStation Premium plus Extra, Ultra, whatever they're calling it, right? That's more than $15 a month. So I get that, whatever the business case is, but you can't, like, you shouldn't have the nerves. You can do whatever you want, but you shouldn't have the nerves to say, I'm going to charge more for this service, and I'm not going to do what the competitors are doing. As a consumer, I don't care.
And then somehow justify
that money Microsoft has.
Yeah.
Right. I know that one company is trying to put Call of Duty in this service, and the other company is saying you'll get what you get when we give it to you.
And you should be happy we put it there, because it's now it ruins the budget when we do it that way, which is absolute hogwash, because the competitor is doing it that way. Right.
And this is not morals, right? It's not morals. It is I own 3 Xboxes and 2 PlayStations, right? I don't know how many households are multi-console households, right? But I'm choosing between these services. And to me, you can't ask me to pay for PlayStation Plus if you're not going to put those day and date things in there.
That's right.
And you shouldn't. Disney Plus came out knowing they didn't have the content Netflix had at the time. So what did they do? They charged like less than half the price for that service. Right? And then, you know, obviously we expect price raises, but because of their lack of content, they said, we do have these things, these older movies in this back catalog that you love. So hold this for $8 a month or whatever they charge. And they shot up to 100 million.
What you're saying there is the problem I have with Sony. Right? If you're not in the market leader position and you see that others have a better offer or better options.
Let's be clear. We should be clear about that.
No, I get that. I mean, in with respect to, like, I'm talking about Disney Plus. They walked into the game. They walked into the game. They weren't in market leader position as far as subscription service is concerned. And because they saw that, hey, that's the market leader, we're trying to take what they got. Let us give the consumer something that entices them to then come to us, right? Like you said, eventually prices will change, it'll go up. But by then, you'll already recognize the value that Disney Plus is offering, so you're more likely to want to go with them on that trip, right? It seems to me that PlayStation is spending a lot of political capital they've built up over the generations in order to justify this. Well, it's almost like that it's $600 and you need a second job to pay for it kind of mentality, which is not the way to go about it if you want to win consumers. Right.
Well, here, what
the messaging around that whole thing has been a mess.
It's been a little bit of a messy situation.
And this is why, you know, I think, and I don't know why they're kind of reluctant to do it, but I think Sony needs a person that can stand in front and talk to gamers.
And that's not Jim Ryan.
I miss Shuhei Yoshida.
And again, there's nothing wrong. And it's funny how people do this thing where, you know, they paint, you know, Jim Ryan as like the emperor, and, you know, and Phil as like, you know, Buddy Christ, you know, doing, you know, the thing, right? And I look at it like Buddy all Christ. Of them are executives who have, like every human, self-preservation, right? they say things that make sense, and then they say things that don't make sense, and then one day they might put their foot in their mouth, and the other it's what it is. But you still need somebody. The thing I think Phil has going for him is the fact that he talks the language of gamers, right? He's still an executive. He still has to do executive things, but he talks the language of gamers. So he kind of knows, even if, you may not agree or you may not, whatever, he speaks it in a way that you kind of still understand it, right? Jim is a number dude, but you need, I'm sorry, if I had a Fortune 700 company, I want a shrewd guy that knows the numbers and say, go give me that money.
But he needs to be quiet in the background while the mouthpiece makes everybody
that money. While I got this other dude, now go talk, get to the podium, and go.
So let me tell you real quick, okay? I work in an environment where we manage a lot of other teams, right? And they come from various places. We recognize that some teams, depending on where they come from, they're really good at talking to consumer, but they may not be very good at the technical aspect. Whereas on the flip side, the other teams are damn good at getting your technical data out. Oh, this is broken. Help me fix it. But you don't want them to explain that to the consumer, right? So you as manager need to figure out, okay, this is the team I want working on that. And then when they're done, I will instruct them to hand it off to the mouthpieces so that they can tell the consumer, right?
Right.
That's exactly what you're describing here. You want Jim at the helm because he's damn good at what he does. You can tell because they basically, with Jim at the helm, they own the UK. Right, he is really good. He's good at marketing. It's anybody you speak to who is in the UK says PlayStation owns it because they're on every billboard, they're in every subway, they're just everywhere. They're promoting, they're always out in front, right? And that's all Jim. Jim literally set that standard, right? So I agree with you on
hold
that.
on a minute now. Hold on a minute now.
Well, let me finish real quick. But I feel like the days where Shuhei Yoshida and the rest of them were out in front, they were on podcasts, they were talking to consumers, Sean Layton and them, and literally giving us the PlayStation equivalent of your Phil Spencer and your Aaron Greenberg, always trying to communicate with the consumer, always trying to be out in front and listening, right? That really worked for them. I loved Shuhei and how he was always out in front. It seems, unfortunately, that has passed them by, and they've kind of demoted him a little bit. I do agree with you, E, that having someone in that position, they buried him. Yeah, he's
that dude in that movie The Office where they
fired him all the way in the
closet,
right? All they need to do now is take away his stapler, and he's going to burn the whole house down. They've regulated him to the closet. You know what I mean?
And that is not cool. Things change. He said everything doesn't stay the same. Things change, so he might be getting ready to burn the building down.
Although I will say, all the people saying, "Oh, PlayStation is doomed," this and that, they have been out here and they have been successful for a reason. They're not morons that luckily just kind of fell into this market leader position, right?
I say that all the
time. So I like that their back is to the wall because that means they'll do shrewd, interesting, innovative things that will most likely benefit us. Right. And how will it most likely benefit us? Because they have a competitor that is literally like playing chicken with them in the consumer, space. Hey, we're giving them this. What are you going to do? Oh, we're giving them that. What are you going to do? That's what they're doing right now in this space. And because of that, we get more benefit. So, I agree with you, Everborn, on the fact that, hey, the business case is different for both of them. And it's business. It's not morals or any of that. Obviously, people speak with that and they're in their fields. It's not that. It's business, right? But I feel like while they're going on and on and on and on, it's like their competitors are pushing them in the direction that we want them to go.
So here's the thing that bothered me about all of this, and I'll ask you, E, because like I said, Eric don't simp for corporations, Jackson. What I found so weird about the discourse around all this, and I do think we should move on. We've kind of been on this.
Oh yeah, we're moving on. But go ahead.
People are making these business cases for Sony, right? Well, they can't give me what they should be giving me, and what everybody else, or what the main competitor is giving me because of this reason and their budgets and their business model. Can I get one?
Please go.
What the fuck does that have to do with you?
All right, so this episode
right?
E now.
That's not your problem.
Go ahead.
That's not your problem, right?
That's right.
And whatever their business case is, that's fine for them, and it makes perfect sense. I get it, and I fully understand it. But one company, like I said before, spent $100 billion over the last whatever years to try to put the next Elder Scrolls and Call of Duty in the service, and the other one is charging more, at least on a monthly basis, and telling me now you can't do it. So that's fine, they can't do it, but they don't expect my money. And I want to subscribe. I would love to be a subscriber.
Yeah. And let me say this. I'm not in Game Pass because of the day and date thing. I'll tell you the simple reason why I'm in Game Pass.
The indies are the best part of Game Pass, especially right now, because
not even just the indies. It's just they made it simple.
About that, everyone. Calm down.
They literally made it simple by saying just roll. You're already here for gold. Just roll it over. And you're in there. It's just you're gonna do this and roll it over and you keep it moving, right? I'm not in PlayStation Now because I was like, make it simple. And they didn't do that. I was like, if you just said, hey, if you're on PlayStation Plus and you're at this tier, we'll just roll you over and we'll include PlayStation Now in your subscription. I'm already there for Plus. They didn't. So that's what I said. They have these different tiers. So I'm in agreement to the fact that you're doing these different things and you're asking this price that doesn't necessarily include the day and date and all that other stuff. Like I said, markets will dictate what they do. And I think the difference with Microsoft and Sony is, again, Microsoft has the parents that can say, we can say day and date. But when you say day and date, you're also locking yourself into one thing that you cannot change. You're only out for that now is Game Pass is done. We're not doing that. That didn't work. We're going to move to this. And trust me, corporations will do that. Google starts a lot of stuff that they don't see to the finish line, and they're like, "We're out."
Yeah, there's a website dedicated to the Google rest in peace.
They made one for Microsoft as well. It's not as bad.
They definitely do. You're right.
Sony said there's a I won't say strategically because again their messaging is a damn mess, but they set it up to where they can kind of pivot.
Yep.
That's the other point that I wanted to come to. They part of the whole reason that day and date even works, I think, is heavily relying on Steam sales, right? And setting up their development pipeline to where everything can be co-developed on PC and console at the same time for those. It's literally PC day and date releases are part of all this, right?
That's the strategic part of it. Yeah, development on both.
So that and the whole cross-buy thing only works because Microsoft already has a store front on PC because they're Microsoft, right? Sony can't do that because how can I give you a license to a game to download on Steam when I don't own Steam, right? I don't have my own launcher. So what I think Sony's doing right now is they're setting themselves up to where if Microsoft does run up the hill, take all the arrows, proves the model for Game Pass, and that's not proven until you got 50, 100 million people in it. They haven't done that yet. But when they do that, they want to be ready to where they can flip a switch.
I mean, let's be real. Let's be real, Everborn. All they need to do is put Xbox Live Gold into Game Pass and put WoW subscribers into Game Pass, and they will kill everyone overnight. All of a sudden, Game Pass.
I'm saying as it relates to Sony, right?
Isn't that what Sony did? They put all the PS Pluses into their new subscribership, and now it's 45 million day one. That's what they did.
Well,
yeah, maybe. That's what they. That's the number they're touting.
At least that's the argument I would make if I was Microsoft's lawyers talking to the FTC. Anyway, the thing that I'm saying is they got Bungie, they got Nixxes to focus on what multi-plat PC development service games, right? They're buying all these studios to put content somewhere, right? I think that by the time this becomes a problem for them, if they need to, they'll be able to do it. But right now, they're trying to make the money they can, and I don't fault them for that. I'm just not subscribing to the service.
You can see in over the last 3 years the difference in focus and thought on what Sony is doing, right? Yep. Like again, Pixel Big G just kind of put that in the chat, and I agree with them. And I kind of said, none of us know, but we can kind of assess. Years ago, when Phil went to meet with Satya, the conversation probably went a little bit like, okay, it was very cute what you guys were doing with the Xbox. I don't care about that box. I'm not a gamer. Speak to me on terms of services. We are a service company. How do we make this thing a service? And don't get it twisted. Both of these companies are probably definitely thinking in terms of they see your console for the console warriors and people who want to fight the console war thing. Your consoles don't matter no more. It's a fire stick
100%
to these companies.
Yep.
You're important in the fact that you haven't moved yet. Now I said this: if tomorrow, if every Microsoft or Xbox user said, you know what, I'm done with the console, I'm gonna get a PC, Microsoft will be like, thank God, because now I don't have to worry about doing that part anymore. Now you're here,
no R&D.
You handle your hardware.
Yep.
And we're gonna keep pushing, right? So Sony's saying the same thing. They're saying, yeah, the PlayStation as they box, we are far removed from what that necessarily means. I shouldn't say far removed. They're still very much in it. Microsoft is still in it, but as time goes on, it's going to be further and further removed. There will probably always be some form of a box because Apple makes the Apple TV and they, in the Fire Stick, they have different versions of that. So there'll always be a delivery method
there's
for people who don't
something
want to
in
jump in the
simplicity. And I think they will sell it as long as people want it.
Exactly. But once the market shifts on that, it'll be a different look. And let me say this one other point, and I'll hand it back to you, Everborn. If you really want to see the market shift and change around the Microsoft thing, and this is the basis of it, because people keep forgetting, the basis of this is games. You really want to see what Game Pass can do if they start to truly deliver what people consider a quality game, and that's what Sony's still kind of leaning on. And then like Nintendo, remember that stamp of quality? We don't ship it until it's perfect. That's how even if it's not, even if it needs some patches, you feel like you got the complete thing. When Microsoft starts to put games that people kind of look at the equivalent of what Sony is doing into Game Pass day and date, that's when people will start going, "Oh."
So, gentlemen, I don't mean to interrupt. I love the way where the conversation is heading, and we have other stories that literally lean in that direction. So I'm going to let you guys continue on that path. Real quick, I will say thank you guys again for joining us. I see my man Marshano Loons in the spot. Thank you, sir, for joining me. My brother, he is the developer. If y'all don't know that, how about y'all ask him to put out a game very soon. We're waiting for you there, Marshano. Calm yourself. Anyway, please hit the like button if you haven't. Subscribe if you haven't done so already. Let us transition to the next story, which continues down this same exact path we have been talking about, which is that Microsoft there's talk of a patent being created that converts discs to digital, which is what happened. This is the first conversation
I need somebody to explain
during
to
the
me
Xbox One gen.
Why this is a big deal.
I will explain to you why this is a big deal. I will explain to you exactly why this is a big deal. And this story dovetails nicely into this story, where they are now looking into possibly releasing an external disk drive to turn Series S's into disk-capable devices. Both of these matter. Both of these stories.
What media is it going to be? Is it going to be HD?
Well, hold on. Let me explain.
HD
Yeah, I know. Right?
I
still have my HD DVD add-on. Let me explain. Everborn, let me explain why this is way more important than people understand. Okay, during the OG Xbox One gen, when they had the TV talk and everybody was all clowning them, and there was a whole thing, and they had to basically pull it back, right?
And now Sony's turning every one of their major IP into TV shows.
What brought about the DRM future that we are where we are now?
Games talking to game. Let's be fair.
What brought about?
Okay, hold on a minute. I don't want to derail this. However, who had the better launch lineup? They did lead.
Oh, stop it! Let's not derail. Stop it.
They had better launch games.
But they started with TV. That's what I'm saying. If you got that, start with that, and then people are talking.
Let me explain why this is important. Everborn, let me explain why this is important. This is important because during that OG Xbox One gen, had they been allowed to continue going where they were going, there would be a world where they were going to disrupt digital rights ownership. DRM would have been a thing that's really different than today had this been allowed to go to fruition the first time they talked about it. And literally what this does is this changes your rights ownership of a game, whether it be physical or digital, and makes it and gives you all the tangible benefits of digital as you do in physical. Meaning it's almost like your NFT that people keep talking about, your blockchain backed device item, because with it, that means whether it's physical or digital, you can sell it. Someone else can buy it. It can be transferred digitally as an actual good if they did this. You understand? That was the plan. I mean, obviously the adverse effect of that would have been GameStop would have been that secondary market would have gone poof overnight, right? But that's what they wanted to do. They wanted to be able to let you go to the Microsoft store, take your old disc, take your old 50-cent Blood and Sand that you can't buy digitally anywhere, and all of a sudden, poof, it's digital, and you can play it again anywhere you go. It can go online with you.
I just want to say, K. Asante, this highlights again why Microsoft was right about the Xbox One. It's just they marketed it and explained it
100%.
Everything they talked about.
I am angry at every gamer.
Fruition now.
Every gamer that was poo-pooing the OG Xbox One for all that, I am yelling at all of you because of you. All of this slowed down. This would have been where we live today. You could take your digital ownership and wherever you want. Now, what changes the equation?
Steve Jobs did say being too early is the same thing as being wrong.
As being wrong. That's right. Which is exactly what happened to Microsoft on many occasions. Now,
but they were right.
What's happening now is since they no longer have the Microsoft store where you can just go in, hand them your disc, and now you can get a digital rights copy, they're now talking about the HD DVD external add-on. You as a Series S owner, do this. Stop, Everborn, let me finish. if you as an external as a Series S only owner see all these great deals out there, right? You see all these great deals. You can buy a disc. You can buy Cyberpunk for $10 on disc. Can't do that on digital, right? So now they're going, hey, maybe these people might want the physical to add to their Series S, and then on the flip, we can actually use that as an ability to turn all the physical content into digital. Meaning, at that point, wherever you go, like you guys have been saying all this time, wherever you go, whether you have a box or not, there's a world where all you do is tap into the app, and all of your media, whether it be physical or digital, is in one place in the cloud that you can access wherever you are. That is their mission with all of this, right? I don't think everybody's going to rush out and go buy themselves an external DVD drive, but they're offering that option.
Get it right, sir.
Stop it. It'll probably be Blu-ray capable, not HD DVD, but that's neither here nor there. But they're doing this in order to thread that needle so that you can play backward compatible titles, so all that stuff can become digital media. Because if you're going to that digital future, how is a digital-only console supposed to keep up when they have no place to put their disc in order to convert it to digital? They no longer have a Microsoft store, so they can't convert it to digital. If we give you a disc, then you put the disc in, you can say, hey, this is the one time you get a chance to do this. We are going to take that digital rights off of your physical media, make it virtual, and now it's all yours.
So can you just throw away the physical disc after that?
That's the question. That's where I don't see where they're going with it, because after you remove that license, it's still literally on the thing, which I guess the way they could go about that, and Pixel, I know he and I have been talking tech online for a while. I guess they could duplicate the same license that's on the physical, right? So then the next time you put that disc in the drive, it says, oh, that license has already been given to someone else, and you won't be able to play that disc anymore. That's probably a way they could go, because it's a physical, like a hex key that's on that CD. So if you take that hex key out and you associate it with somebody else's ID, that would then mean that anytime anybody else puts that disc in, it'll go, no, this hex key does not belong to you. You are not the owner of this. The disc becomes useless. I suspect that's where they're going, but that's why this is important.
Yeah, this might be important, but they don't need to.
That's why this is important for that. No, but that's the reason. Right? Because if you don't do that, right, presumably most Series S users probably had an Xbox at some point, right? They probably have they had a 360 maybe, or they were part of the Xbox One gen. You don't know. This is an option, as Microsoft loves to do, to give you the option to replay your media again from before you probably didn't continue you probably have Halo somewhere on the disc. They want you to be able to play that. Just a thought,
Let me
an interesting idea.
Out.
What do you think, Keith?
The only way this works is if they're going to eat the cost, and
they're definitely eating the cost. 100%.
And they send it to you for free, because if they're asking people to pay for that drive, now you're getting outside of what the S even stands for.
They'll definitely ask you to pay for that drive. I'm pretty sure they'll ask you to pay for that drive, but it's optional. Meaning, I don't foresee it being more than $50.
Drawing board. Don't release it.
So you don't think? See, I think the drive itself is just a device, but the ramifications of turning everything into digital rights, revamping digital rights media, that'd be a big move.
I get that, Cassandra, but I think the thing is that the S was built for a specific reason, a cheap entry point into the Xbox ecosystem and gaming. If you're gonna let's just say for argument's sake, this drive is gonna be like $99, right?
Probably cheaper than that.
Cheaper, but let's say
at wholesale that drive, the HD drives at wholesale right. cost them like $20. So I don't think it'll be 100. Yeah.
So let's say $59.99 out the door, right? So now, but what you're doing now, you're still asking somebody to pay what is the S going for now? I've seen them.
I've seen it. The cheapest I've seen is $250, and that was on sale. But usually it's like $280 something, almost $3.
Yeah. And you kind of you're putting it out there. And I think people who are picking up, they understand it's a cheap entry point. It's digital, whatever. I'm good. Now I'm not saying that there wouldn't be people that do that, but I don't see the person who's going, the general consumer specifically looking for this thing to go and say, no, now I'm also going to buy this drive. Now my cost is going up for like all of it.
Yeah.
Just for the opportunity to go pick up some discs and do this. Now I don't think I'm not against being able to get the game that you have on disc onto a digital thing, but I'm kind of with Everborn. I think it's one of those things like I think you're opening up a Pandora's box in a way.
Oh, some companies don't think options are necessarily the way to go, and in this instance, this might be too much. I just think it's interesting they're thinking about.
Might be too much.
Well, because how many people are actually going to buy this disc? Not too many people are going to buy it, right?
Nobody should buy it because they shouldn't sell it.
Well, but remember, Everborn. We were on PTG. What was it? Mag was saying how much does he pay for his digital games on PS5, and he has no choice because even though the physical games are out there and they're much cheaper in Canada, he has no choice but the really astronomical price that you pay for digital. This solves that problem. It does.
Yeah, we get spoiled here in the U.S. versus like other.
It's you think everything's cheap out there. They're paying hundreds of bucks for things that you pay for considerably cheaper, and they could find the disc or the used, all that. You will be surprised at how many people may take them up on this disc option.
This thing's got to be
it's expensive.
Cheap. It's got to be dirt cheap or or freebie. I don't know if they would do that, but I'm just saying.
I think it'll be dirt cheap. I think it'll be dirt because in the long run, what this does is this gets you all into the digital ecosystem, right? All of it, because that's what this is a long play for digital. That's what this is. It sounds like it's not because they're handing you a physical disc and you're going, this is backwards. Why not just continue down the digital path? But I honestly think they're doing this so that it gives you ability to free yourself of your physical media. That way you have this thing, you turn everything digital, or you can, in the short term, you get yourself a deal. Hey, Best Buy has this game. It's considerably cheaper than the digital version. You buy it, you convert it, and you have that game, right? It is an interesting option, is all I'm saying. Do I like it? Do I think it's the future? I don't know. All I'm saying is it's out there, and they're thinking.
I'm saying I'm not interested in it.
Well, you
shouldn't be interested in it. Cheap, they should just leave it in the dirt. Don't put this disc out. I like the digital.
It's not for you. It's not for you.
It shouldn't be for anybody. See, this never worked.
This is your selfishness.
No
brother.
add-on to any console has ever worked. I had the Sega CD. I had the 32X. I had the HD DVD drive.
Notice how he keeps referencing Sega. I think this is the hurt feelings. Oh, do you need a hug, brother? I think you need a hug. Get on cam, bro. You need a hug. He's hating on the disc because it's
screwed. Up the nightmares, man.
It's screwed Dreamcast. So he's like, screw it. Don't do it.
Oh my God. Everyone's saying, man, we had a bunch of space takers over the generations.
Right.
Machado Luna out here going PTSD.
PTSD. Learn from the past are destined to repeat it.
Yes.
Don't do it again.
It's interesting that they're throwing that out there.
It's interesting.
Their role in trying to move people to digital.
Yes.
For what they're trying to do, like with Game Pass and everything, that.
Yep.
And
besides, think about it. Think about it. They can sell more S's. And to your point, E, this was meant as a cheap entry level, but that was they made these plans before the pandemic, before the chip shortage. Now it stands to reason that their plan to make this a cheap option has changed. This is now their base offering because they can offer this to you way easier than they can the Series X. right? There are way more Series S's out there now.
And I don't know if you heard me and Kay Asante talk about this, but I have been on record as being a Series S hater.
Until they started owning the world, and now all of a sudden you're like, well, maybe I get it now.
No. I don't get it. I'll just say I was
wrong. You still don't get it? Because you said you were wrong. Okay, I'll give you that. I'll give you that you were wrong.
Right. But what it seems like is the Series X is actually the primary SKU, and the X is the one that is just for us hardcore.
Yep. The baseline is the S. That's the baseline. That's where you start. If you want the bells and whistles, we got the X for you. But right now, there are more S's in the spot than anywhere else, right?
And that's only going to get worse. Can you imagine this? 1 second, Ken.
Go ahead.
I want just go. You are Black Friday 2023 or 2024, because they may skip a year. Black Friday 2024, Series S, new COD on the box, $199.
Slow-mo says Everborn is a hater of smart ideas. I'm sorry. Continue.
No, look at the next one.
Which is why he's a Sega stan. You're derailing my show there, Slow-mo.
No, 2023, 2024, COD on the box, Series S. I said Timmy's mom is going to have an orgasm.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
100%.
Yep. So that, to me, tells me that the Series X will actually be the rarity.
Yes.
And it'll be there for the people who need the extra power. But the main console this generation is the Series S, as far as Microsoft is concerned.
Why do you think, and you know why I completely see that as like you see it? I see that because they didn't put a lower SKU or lower quality CPU into the Series S. They put a lower quality GPU into the Series S. Why? Because GPU horsepower can scale,
and
you
slower memory GPU, and a slower hard drive. But
the slower memory and it's the same hard drive, not a slower hard drive, just less space. The CPU cannot scale. Complexity of a world is set, and this is a quick diatribe change off to the whole
next day.
True to the whole Gotham Knights conversation. Oh, it's only next gen now. No, it's not. It's still a last-gen game. It's still a cross-gen last-gen game, because when they decided to make the game, they went, oh, we have to account for Jaguar cores. Okay, and that's how it's been ever since. 3, 4, 5 years later, they decide to remove the Xbox One or the PS4 from it, and you think it's next-gen now? No, it still started as a Jaguar core CPU-based game. And until that's the case, it'll always be a last-gen game. That's just the way it is. And that is why Microsoft put a good CPU into the Series S. So when it becomes the standard, right, you can scale the GPU up to the Series X. You get more bells and whistles, great. But the complexity of the world will not suffer because you have a lesser capable CPU. That's still in the Series S. They were very smart in that. Even before the chip shortage became a thing, even before all of this made the Series S become the de facto, baseline console, it will still move the needle forward because that CPU will not hamper any game development. That is very, very smart. Anybody who says, oh, it'll hold you back, it's the CPU that counts, not the GPU. And in that respect, they did a very good job in making sure that CPU could still, punch with the big dogs as they were. It's the same processor as in the PlayStation and in the Xbox, right? So to me, that tells me they're looking forward, and I'm excited to see where they go. But let's move quickly on, because you are right, Everborn Saga. We want to keep it 2 hours of contained. So we did talk a little bit about these two, and you guys aren't sure about it. And I honestly think that all of these 2 stories dovetails into this third story as well, which happens to be what happened with the whole DRM situation. We don't have to go too far into it because it's been a conversation for the week. We have a little bit of time. I want to get into the whole Bethesda delay situation. But real quick, did this become a problem for you when this was a thing? Were you able to play your games? Do you game share? Was this something that was on your radar?
No, I don't game share, but no, it did not affect me. And I'm definitely not one of those guys that goes, well, it's working for me. That's a you problem.
Yeah.
Not that thing. But no, it didn't actually hit me. I was able to access, my library. But yeah, like you said, we don't have to dive too deep into it. But I just have a simple feeling about the DRM thing is like, You know, if you purchased a physical disc, if you purchased a digital item or whatever, you should have access to it. I mean, not if it's like a online only multiplayer game. I can understand like the service goes down.
Yeah, makes sense.
That's just the nature of that beast. But if it's got single player components or whatever the case may be, you should not be shut out of that game, regardless. Now, the other side of that is if you are a Game Pass only gamer, you know, you don't really buy anything. You just kind of hang out in Game Pass and you do your thing, and that goes down. Now you're kind of assuming a bit of a risk because that's a service that they're offering to you. You don't own it. You're utilizing it. So if that's how that goes, and that's how that goes. But no, if you physically purchase something, physical, digital, you should have access to it, and you should not be locked out from any portion that should be accessible. That's just how I feel.
How about you, Mr. Everborn Saga? Did this affect you? How do you feel?
No, because it was Mother's Day weekend, and I didn't even turn on the Xbox or PlayStation.
And if you were playing on Mother's Day weekend, you're a troglodyte. Did you hang out with your mother? Call your mother.
Of course I did. On that deck that we just built? You crazy? I was getting ready for the party
with your mother
on Sunday, all day Saturday. And I just came back to Twitter on Monday, and I'm like, wow, all of this went down. Did you see the meme that I put? It was like, help, Microsoft. It said somebody drowning, his hand is up. Like, help, Microsoft. Xbox is down. And then somebody, instead of helping him up, gives him a high five and says, works for me.
You gotta love those guys, right? It's like, yo, anybody else experiencing an outage right now? No, I'm good, bro.
No, it works for me. I'm good. Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
If you work in the software world, you will get that a lot. So that's what made that even. It's the same mentality.
The high five is like later.
So okay. We don't have to continue. We don't have to go too far down the path on this. But I did want to bring it up because it did cause a lot of consternation until, of course, Bethesda came and smacked everybody.
Well, hold on a minute. So Marciano asked if I'm an Xbox hater. No, I'm an Xbox putting another dumbass attachment on their system hater.
Here we go.
That's what I am. Don't do any attachments.
And he was also the same Xbox. How could they release this thing? It makes no sense until, oh yeah, I guess it is selling everywhere. I guess I was wrong. I'm just saying, putting that out there. Continue.
I still think they should have did an all digital Series S.
Marciano's like, Sega PTSD. We'll move it on. Okay, so all I want to do before we talk about the Bethesda thing, what I want to talk about with this DRM thing is, and shout out to Pixelbit G, we've been talking about this all week online. This thing is a necessary evil that is necessary, as we know. It's absolutely necessary because, hey, that's the world we live in. Especially they're moving on to this digital rights stuff that they're doing. You definitely need some kind of digital rights checking and all of that. I am not a game sharer. I have a Series S and a Series X in my office. I've been as many know, I've been in construction in my house for a while. So my X and my PS5 was in a box. So I've been playing my Series S all week. I have my little X screen up. It's all good. When this thing happened, and both my consoles, no game share. My console is set to home. Like I've checked, it's set as home console. During this whole thing, first, obviously, as E said, Game Pass didn't work. Makes sense, right? Elden Ring didn't work. I paid that. Bought that myself. It's digital. I didn't put the disc in. It was a digital game because it was inside the Series S and my Xbox One Series X. But I should have had access to that game, whether there's a problem or not. Okay.
I got a weird story for you when you're done with yours about.
Please interject.
I'm going to cut you off. Finish yours, and I'll tell you what happened. Something about that Elden Ring thing.
Yeah. All I want to say about this is this has been a problem for quite some time. And I wanted to make this point probably more the main topic of the show before the Bethesda thing, because I feel like us as consumers not being fully educated in what this is and what it does allows them to get away with a lot. Like I've said this on the show with everyone before. This is like when the Congress asks all the CEOs to come to the Hill and interview them, give them the tough questions, and the tough questions ends up being, why is it that every time I say something out loud, my phone then gives me ads about it? Are you guys spying on us? Dumb, unrealistic questions. You know what I'm saying? Like if you don't if you don't educate yourself and understand what you need to ask, you'll never get the right answers. And that's what I think the problem with DRM is here today. The problem here is clearly it was an authentication issue. They have these servers. Every time you log on your machine, it checks, hey, is this who you say you are? It authenticates you, you move forward, right? If they are having an issue with their authentication servers, which is clearly what was happening here, there should be code that is built into this system that says, oh, I've checked once, I've checked twice, because it literally phones home. If you phone home and it says, not, because usually what's supposed to happen is, yes, this belongs to that person, move forward. Or no, it doesn't. Oh, he's a hater, he's a hacker, rejected. It's not what it gave you. It didn't give you yes or no. It gave you, I have no response. And if it gives you, I have no response 2, 3, 4 times, maybe edit the code to make sure that for future reference, once it's not able to get a definitive answer one way or another, let it not be the problem of the person trying to play the game. Circumvent the requirement in the short term while you troubleshoot the issue. Once it's done, you can always re-enable it again in the background and nobody will ever notice. DRM is a necessary evil. There's a lot of technical back and forth that goes around with it. But if you don't want it to come front and center, that people recognize that, hey, all the physical media, even the digital, the physical discs we buy, we technically don't own because they're all shackled by PlayStation and Xbox and all their servers. If you don't want that to be the main topic of conversation, you as the platform holder have to make this thing as transparent to the consumer as possible. You have to, it cannot be stopping them from playing their games. Because if it is, then the next question becomes, why do we need this anyway? What's going on? Like, I have been beating this drum by myself for a long time. The Xbox 360 still requires tethering to the Microsoft servers. A console that's 2 generations dead. You could easily send an update, unshackle it from the servers, because you guys keep talking about game preservation, right? My man Marshano is in the chat. He keeps wanting to play FIFA, NBA Street 2, and all these other old games that did not make it through back compat because of various reasons. The publisher didn't want that. If you want those games to continue to live, unshackle it from the Xbox servers so that it can continue to live. So these millions of 360s can continue to have a life beyond it. I mean, do they have a life? Yes, they do, because people like us go, yeah, you don't want to give me access? Well, screw you then. I will find my own way, which is what we're doing. But it shouldn't be that way, right? This all speaks to that broader DRM conversation where if you keep making it inconvenient for people, Machado saying Metal Gear Solid 2, he's been trying to play that forever. Can't play it because it's locked behind an old console. And guess what? When you try to turn that old console again, it'll go, oh, I need access to the server. Oh, maybe that server no longer exists. Now you have a paperweight, unless you know what you're doing. And not everybody needs to be a hacker to be able to play the games that they built, that they paid for many years ago. That is the problem with DRM. We need to educate ourselves so we can hold them accountable the right way. They need to make this thing transparent. The Xbox One should have its DRM unshackled by the end of this year, because after you stop making games for the Xbox One, why do you keep locking it down? Let it be. Let it exist, right? This is the problem with DRM. But yes, this is what I wanted to basically talk about. Everborn, do you disagree with me? Because you tend to have a different opinion on things, which I appreciate. Do you think, I know that you know that DRM is a necessary evil. What do you think? And I know they're not being altruistic. It's a business-making entity and all of that. But if you want to speak to the point of, hey, we're out here trying to continue game preservation. Phil Spencer's always speaking so candidly about how he wants this to be a thing. Don't you think it is up to us to educate ourselves and push them to really go there? Separate the old console. Start making better moves in DRM. What do you think?
I don't want them to I don't want to get into like how tokens work and all that stuff. All I want to say is,
yeah, we don't need to go too deep and technical into that.
Just to make it simple, everybody has an iPhone. You know that when you use your face unlock, or any sort of biometric authentication, that all that stuff is never stored on a server anywhere. It's all local to the device. And I think that there has to be a way to mimic that, to have the DRM check on the hardware itself. Now, once we move to this digital future and we're streaming all our games, then fine, right? If you can't ping the server, you can't ping the server. But things like offline play, you should be able to do that. One, it is about game preservation, and you talk a good game, but ultimately, you're saying game preservation through this service, right?
Yep.
And not saying we ever think their servers like they're going to go out of business. I mean, could happen. Anything could happen, right? Look at 45. But, you could have issues where your servers are down and your customers can't get it. So I just think they need to move some of this stuff onto the local hardware. And you can get like a signature that says, okay,
that is also a good solution. Yeah.
This device is gonna basically unlock the game, and this device is registered to you, and you have authenticated into this device, so that's it, right?
Yeah.
It's like it's like a local single sign-on.
Yeah.
Right.
Which is basically what phones have been doing forever, right? I'm advocating.
This is like basic, like SAML stuff, right? So I don't know.
So I'm advocating for them being a bit more trusting of their consumer base. If you see it's not authenticating and the problem is your server, then forego the authentication and the rights authorization for a moment and move forward. You're saying they should have a local cached credential. If you can't check against the server, check against cache and then move forward that way. I agree with you on that. My white hat coming on a little bit. That might the reason why they
but
might,
you have to back that up with a biometric authentication.
Some kind of biometric authentication, yeah, which probably would be you using your phone or some other method to verify who you are or something like that. No, I get it. The reason why I think they might be less inclined to possibly want to do that is because if there's a thought that there's local credentials on there, somebody might find a way of cracking the egg.
You're not passing any credentials.
You're just verifying cached.
Right. So forget about, you're not storing any password. You're not storing any of that. Once you do the biometric unlock, however they do that, there's many ways to do that.
Yeah, like Beast Mode saying, "Welcome,
that can get you into the game."
Beast Mode is saying have a hardware USB key instead of a cache credential. Yeah, there are many options there. I think we can all agree that this should be transparent to the user, right? It's a necessary evil. We all
bring back the Connect and do Face ID.
Bro, I took my Connect outside the box yesterday. It's over there. I have a
No, we want to bring back HD DVD drives. Bring back the Connect. Do Face ID.
You can't connect. You can't connect the Connect to the Series X. You need a converter cable.
Give me an adapter.
We might need an adapter. But okay, let us move on to why we're here.
Well, I was gonna say the one thing, the weird thing that happened. My boy Nicholas Down, he game shares with somebody.
Yeah,
the guy that he game shares with bought Elden Ring.
Okay,
he couldn't access it, but Nick could.
Yeah, because his credentials are on Nick's machine and vice versa. So if you buy it, your creds are still on somebody else's PC. So it'll almost be like the other person bought it, not you. It's the craziest thing.
That's where it's like that.
Yeah,
thing where
it's so funky. Yes,
so many you check this box and then this thing goes crazy over here, and I wouldn't want to figure it out, but.
See, and there you go, Everborn. Everybody clowning you. See, everybody loves Connect forever. But let us move on. Let's move on to the story.
Out of here.
See, I did a lot of really cool, interesting hackery things with Connect, so I always.
Okay.
As a game machine, not so much, but it does cool stuff. Anyway, let us move on to why we're here. What superseded the story of the week, which is that Bethesda just came out.
Till we get to the real.
Indeed, and we're gonna make it tight. We're gonna keep it tight. Pause. Bethesda. Not only did Bethesda come out and deliver unfortunate news, they delivered it in my opinion, the most matter-of-fact, rip off the Band-Aid, we'll find way possible by just coming out not even blog post, a tweet with a JPEG image We didn't see the God Howard show up and say we apologize, right? We didn't see any of that. It just boom, delayed, right? Let me see if I can pull out that. Yeah, this is what we got. This is what we got.
They delayed this game with a GIF.
With a GIF. So, my question, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Everborn.
Todd Howard, though, but for real, before you go on, couldn't Todd Howard
made a video?
Do a video? You know what I'm saying?
We're going to talk about
hardest to get this thing.
I have a very, very weird conspiracy theory. I'm gonna break it down, but let's start at the top.
They're doing round tables where they feel like that all they got to show you is concept art. Knowing the game wasn't ready.
You see, you're literally you're filling the gaps of my conspiracy theory as you speak. We're continuing on. This is what we got. This is it. When this came up, right? Mr. Boomstick, shout out to Double Barrel Gaming. Mr. Boomstick called me in the morning, bro. We're in trouble. I'm like, what are you talking about? He goes, you don't know? He's like, Everborn called me this morning and filled me in exactly the same way. I thought when I first saw this, I thought it was a hack. I thought it could not be possible. I thought, come on now, this is not how they would drop both of them, both bangers, quote unquote, like both in one fell swoop. They're both dead. Peace out.
And I don't think that's how it would happen. Would anyone have cared if they just said Redfall was pushed back to next year? I think that answer is no.
I don't even know. Well, we already have one bad word spoken today, so I guess I can continue. Matt Booty is a flatback. Says slow mo backslap. Pause, brother.
The booty got no booty.
The booty needs to get spoken to. I'm sorry, but yes.
But no, nobody. It wouldn't have hit as hard.
No, it would have been. I honestly think, and to your point, Everborn, you're absolutely right. Had they said, Redfall has been delayed, but Starfield is still on track. Boom. Even if they did the opposite, I think there would have been big disappointment, but it wouldn't be like, oh my God, the sky is falling, both of them are gone. It would have been like, okay, games that get delayed, we're disappointed, but there's still something going on. But to just drop both of these just like that in a non-spoken JPEG image seems so suspect to me. E, what do you think? Where were you when you heard this? What are your thoughts on this whole deal?
It's like the shot that was heard around the world.
Around the world, man. Yes.
I need the Zaputa tapes.
They went in one fell swoop from they're on top to, oh Lord, what happened?
Shout out to Slow Mo. I think he dropped it in the Brap DM. And my reaction was, yo.
Continued with the O's, right?
Yeah, like, oh. Because, man, yeah, you're right. It's sort of that thing where it's like, we hyping, we chilling. This is all we're gonna say. And all right, goodbye. So everyone's right. It's sort of like you're doing round tables, you're dropping it like it's hot by showing this, the clip of the sandwich, and look how beautiful that looks, right? And then it's like, yeah, we delayed.
By the way, delayed.
Yep. Bye.
Yep, exactly.
All this stuff that people thought was mystery marketing, like no, they're just mysterious. That's just what Bethesda does.
Right.
He wasn't ready, buddy. That's why he didn't show it. This had
follow me down this path real quick. Okay. When the whole Bethesda Microsoft deal closed, the big conversation was, oh, finally, we have a company within Microsoft that knows how to market. Bethesda has been so famous for their great marketing. Whenever they have a show, it is a show. They took people to a theme park for one of their announcement trailers, announcement, what do you call it, events, right? They're always good at speaking to the community, always good at getting people to understand. That's why you can be a Xbox fan, a PlayStation fan, or a Bethesda fan. People love Bethesda because they are community driven, right? And now you see this community-driven thing. It looks like rather than them influencing Microsoft in the proper way to be also community-driven, now it seems like Microsoft, or Xbox, I should say, is influencing them to be aloof in the way that they're announcing things. So it appears. I don't think that's what this is, but this is what it appears. Now, go ahead, Everborn. Before I will drop my conspiracy theory. Go ahead, Everborn.
I just want to add... The biggest issue with this, because I'm not even, honestly, I'm not mad at the delay, right? We just spent all this time saying they should have delayed Halo another year or two.
They don't want another Cyberpunk.
They didn't have the content that they needed. And now they're listening to you, doing what you asked them to. And now you're saying, why are you delaying the game? So which one do you want? Do you want them to put it out and it's not ready? Or you want them to delay the game when they see it? Right?
100%. Yep.
How many times have we heard Slow-Mo say, and I don't hear Slow-Mo complaining about this, so I'm not coming at you, Slow-Mo, this time.
Not this time.
But Slow-Mo has been trying to tell us all this time, what would Halo have looked like if they put it out in 2020? Why didn't Phil have the foresight to say, I'm delaying this thing? Right?
So, I was saying the same. I was out there punching back because people were, the minute they revealed Halo and it looked garbage. And from my opinion, I was like, this don't look right. And let me not say garbage, but I was like, this looks off. And you have people, you're not a Halo fan then if you don't see that and get hyped. And then I was like, no, something looks off with that. I'm sorry. I'm not even talking like cap. I'm just saying it doesn't look right. And they wanted to push it, right? So and even now pushing it, it's like, yeah.
Right. So to that end, they did what we said that they did what they said. They looked at it internally before showing it to us.
I think we're all in agreement.
Moment.
You tell me. I think we're all in agreement. Them delaying these games is not the problem.
No,
you can. To me, you can delay a game as many times as you need to because there is a true sentiment.
We don't want it to come out broken.
To play, but that doesn't mean that there shouldn't be questions asked.
Right.
And my problem is this.
Hold on one second. Let me just get to the one thing. The casualty of this, because I'm going to make a left turn after. This is my preamble, right?
Okay.
Because I like I said, I'm giving out free shoes today, and I will be talking to some people in the Xbox community. But I think the real casualty here is I don't believe anything they say on dates anymore. If they have an amazing show in June, and they say, guess what? We had a surprise. We hid it from you. It didn't leak. That mother effer Jez didn't get to it. Brad Sands neither. We hid it from him. Yep. It's coming out in December. I'm going to turn into the anchor man. I'm going to say, I don't believe you, good sir. I don't think that's coming out in December. So they cannot give me a date. I don't believe any date they tell me until I can download the game.
Well, but they don't need you to believe them. They don't need you to believe them, Everborn. They don't,
because they already got.
As long as they got your money, you're in the ecosystem. You're gonna play it. As long as they themselves believe it and it releases when they say it does, all will be forgiven. We've already talked about it. People have amnesia. Eventually, they'll forget about all of this, right? Yep. Let me tell you my conspiracy theory. Exactly.
If you deliver something for them.
Yes.
Yeah.
How could they have announced this? They could have been mum's the word. They could have let the June show come out, and then they could have wowed us with amazing footage. Exactly, bro. Exactly, brother. 100%.
They could have came out and be like, "Yo, we don't believe in generations."
No. Listen, they could have showed us all this whiz bang, and then at the end of the video, at the end when you see and your face is blown back by all that is Starfield, at the end it says first quarter 2023.
No, but I think that kills the momentum.
No, but you know what? I don't disagree. I disagree with that, because then you've seen what you've seen the goods. You're so excited about the goods. So when they say they're delaying it, you're more apt to be okay, delay it, because what I've seen is so good that I want it to be the best. They would have shown you something
on that marketing wise, right?
Go ahead.
Because the problem is they shouldn't have projected the date. And Todd Howard walking out there in the goddamn leather jacket.
Supposedly, cool. It was Todd's decision to project that date. It was all him. It's all been him, to the point where shout out to Xbox 2. Jez is saying that he's thinking that this came solely from Todd Howard, and that big photo op you saw was probably them going, we need to delay it.
Smiling if you zoom.
Yeah, when he was like. He knows what's about that.
But
the suspicion is that that's when they made that decision. But continue.
So the pushback on what you're saying is, I think, and our good buddy Gladiator, he did like a parody video. He's getting really good at these. Where he
I've seen some. He's good. He's hilarious
for Xbox fans with this announcement, and I think that the thinking is, Xbox fans will go through those 5 stages, and by the time we get to June, they will accept the delay. So now you can blow them away without the chaser afterwards. Straight shot, no chaser, gameplay, here we go, and now you're hype again because you've actually went through your
because you've gone through the stages already
and your denial.
Okay,
and now
I like that you're giving people the benefit of the doubt. You saying until June, you already had dudes out there saying. It's a funny thing. Every time Microsoft will announce something, you get dudes who automatically go, well, that's fine because, then 2024 is going to be stacked. 2023 is going to be stacked. It's like, we're going to keep moving. We've been waiting since.
See, I hear you. I hear you.
That's why that's what Slow-Mo is saying is true. This delay is not, the delay is not the issue. It's the fact that
they got nothing for 2022.
What are you You keep talking hardware and we got the most powerfuls and we got the dies and we got the this and we got the that. Where is your game that shows
there's been nothing to show it off?
All of that, but 2026 is
going to be a murder.
It's going
fire. No, okay.
So they can't get pushed back forever.
Real quick.
Yeah, let me be right eventually, right?
Let me thread the needle. Let me thread the needle on my.
Let
me thread the needle on my conspiracy theory. Okay, I don't agree with it. I don't necessarily think it's necessarily the way to go, but I seriously think that. Because as we've all, like E did it, Everborn did it, as we've all exactly spoken on, these guys, and I'm not talking about Microsoft, Bethesda specifically, are better at this than this. So one of two things will happen after this June show. Either I will walk around like Negro Damas going, I told y'all, because what I think is happening is they have 21 studios. Activision Blizzard not counted. They have 21 studios. Well, okay, yes, 23. Forgive me, 23. And each team, on average, each studio has 2 teams on average. Some of them have more.
It's about 35 teams for the 20.
Exactly. We keep talking about the same 3 or 4 repeat offenders. Where's Redfall? Where's Avowed? Where's this? They have 30 some odd teams. We keep talking about the same repeat offenders. Machine Games has had the chance to sit back and finish another Wolfenstein game. They've had the length of time to finish one, and they haven't even announced it. Because if you look at the last time the last one was released, and I'm not talking about the Twins one because that wasn't Machine Games, all the way until now, and it wasn't good. We know that. Yes, they've had the length of a development window to release to actually complete the whole thing. They haven't announced it yet. That's one team. There are many teams in this. So one of two things will happen after June. Either I'll be Negro Damasing talking about, see, told y'all, or I'll be very disappointed in Xbox because clearly they did not see this coming. And I don't think that's the case. The way they're announcing this, the way they're ripping the Band-Aid off, this is tried and true, a method they could follow all this time. Like Everborn is always right, like when it comes to this. He says, you don't have to listen to what PlayStation does. Watch what Microsoft does. Because they do what Microsoft does. They just don't say they're doing what Microsoft does, but then when you see it in action, they do exactly that thing. This is an instance where they need to do what PlayStation does. PlayStation has done this before. Oh, you go in expecting this, expecting that. Then they blow your head back with the most amazing footage, only at the end to tell you that you thought it was this year. No, it's next year. But guess what? It's so great, you'll wait for it. It's a formula. It's been tried and true. It's been done by Nintendo. It's been done by it's been done by Sega. It's been done by everybody. Oh, we'll show you the whiz bang, blow your wig back, and then disappoint you at the very last minute. But all the stuff we've shown you is so magical that you won't be upset because we've already shown you that whiz bang, right?
Right.
They chose not to do that today.
Here's Flute Guy, ladies and gentlemen.
That's right. They chose not to do that today. So that tells me, my conspiracy theory, that tells me, oh yeah, we're going to drop them off a cliff. We're going to crater them. It's going to be the size of the moon, that crater. But come June, we got something for them. That is their thinking.
Right.
Will they be right? I don't know.
Like that. Yeah.
So that's what I am thinking.
So here's the thing. If you have some unannounced things, because people keep doing this thing when it comes to like Bethesda, where it's like they go back to the Fallout 4 thing. Remember that time that they told us a few months ahead,
that
and
one time at Bandcamp?
Yeah, one time at Bandcamp, right? And it's like
that's right.
And me and Slobo talked about this too. It's like the Bethesda charm used to push them through a lot of stuff, right, dude? And I honestly, we both feel From has taken the Bethesda charm. Because people now on this From thing, they're like,
oh Lord,
I got this, but hey, it's beautiful. It's all love.
The From charm, yes.
Right. So it's like
when your horse is like walking in the middle of the air and there's no foot and he's just kind of still walking. Oh, it's just the charm,
Right, exactly. So my thing, where my head kind of goes is, again, how much weight is continuously being put on Starfield to be that game? You get to a point where there's nothing, you just can't deliver to what people's expectation is going to be. And I think that's
Elden
where
Ring did it.
Did it?
Yeah, true.
I think so. I think Elden Ring delivered on the hype. It's one of the only games that
from the first trailer. There was a from the very first trailer there was a subreddit in Reddit where people were like hundreds of pages like talking about all the theories and this and that. It was for 2 years the most anticipated game at the Game Awards, and then it actually lived up to expectations. Can you believe it? Amazing, right? I'm sure somewhere the dude who made Tunic is going. But hey, what are you gonna do?
Right. So so I, like I said, delay is not necessarily a bad thing.
Yeah,
I like delay because it is there's a truth in saying like there are things to play. Now, if you're a person legit, and I don't know how many people there are out there like this, they are out there, but if all you wait for is like a AAA multiplayer, AAA first party, that's all you play, that's all you wait and look for, these kind of things hurt you. Because it's dry out here, dude. Which kills me when people say that, man. It's dry out here. I'm like, well,
yeah, I don't know what game you're playing.
Right.
I have too many games to play.
It's the games I got now. You talking about
right? So when I feel more, especially nowadays, I feel relief when a game gets delayed.
Yep, me too.
But when you delay, you gotta come with it. You can't come and be like buggy. You can't come and be a hot mess. You can be that when you go ahead and push, when people are telling you that you should have delayed and you went ahead and pushed because you need to hit it for the investors and hit the quarter and all this other stuff. But if you're like, yo, we're delaying because we got to make this the best it can be. And you come in again, there's certain things that people will forgive. It needs a patch here, patch there, whatever. But if you come out broken after delays, then people are like, what the hell were you delaying for? Right?
Or what if you just come out and you're not good?
Oof.
Right? Like,
yeah.
That's
the brutal side.
The issue is that they shouldn't have been so proud and out there with that date. I think now my thing is it's part of what you're saying, E. But I do and the casualty is that they've lost credibility. But I'm seeing so many of my fellow Xbox brethren, right?
Mm-hmm.
They're talking as if this game got canceled.
Yeah,
right? Right. And here's my problem, right? If you were if Starfield was your thing, that's what you always wanted, and you trust Bethesda because they've given you all these games, so you didn't need to see the game, and they gave you a date and you were building up your hype to that. That's cool. I get it. I get being upset. I get not trusting a date. I get the fact that as far as today, what we know today, there's literally everybody thinks, and let me paint a bleak picture for you real quick.
Bleaker than what you've painted already? Go ahead.
Yeah, no. I think Starfield's going to get delayed again. I don't think it's coming out till November. Right? I think it's November.
Well, no, not delayed again. They just said it's coming in 2023 first half.
No, but first, I think it's coming in the second half. That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
And I think a lot of people just talk about Forza Motorsport like it's a foregone conclusion that is coming out this year.
Yeah,
why hasn't
on
Microsoft
that, man?
No
one has said anything. They just announced it, showed the trailer, and that's it.
Right?
Yeah,
we don't know. We have no idea that that's coming out this year. And then people say no, but and then we're going to get Deathloop. How do you know that? You didn't look at that contract, right? You don't know if that. It may come out this year, but you don't know for a fact Deathloop is coming out this year.
True.
It's grasping at straws at this point, everyone.
What'd you say?
They're grasping at straws.
Right.
Because this is where Twitter melts your brain. And this is where your logic goes out the window.
So again, if you're an Xbox fan and as of today, you are like, yo, I know June is coming, but right now, your whole slate is 0. You were supposed to have Stalker 2, and you were supposed to have Atomic Heart, but there's things going on in the world. That was supposed to be your big games for the first half of the year.
Don't say Atomic Heart, you're gonna make me cry. Stop it.
Right?
You're gonna make me cry.
And then nobody Exomecha is gonna be terrible, but Exomecha gets pushed back, right? All these things happen. Some of those things were out of their control. I get it, because again, things in the world. But basically, it's nothing. This year is a wash. 2022. Right? I'm not telling people to wait, but I do think 2023 is going to be stacked, ironically. I'm not telling you to wait. I'm not saying wait.
Lord.
That's fine, though, because if it's not, then we go 2024, though.
Exactly.
25.
I told you 2023 is the year.
Right?
No. But all that being no, because think about it, though. 2023, unless Starfield gets pushed to 2024, but 2023, you will at least have Starfield. You'll at least have Redfall. I think that's when motorsport.
So if Starfield gets pushed back to 2025, when do we see the next Elder Scrolls?
Your grandkids
in our lifetime.
Now, listen, we might be out of here, man.
Right. So no, but I say that to say 2023 will also be the year that they close on Activision. So it will be like a huge year if you have just the hype of actually closing the Activision deal. Starfield actually coming out, Redfall actually coming out, maybe one of Xbox Studios games comes out 2029. But like think about all of those things happening in that year, right? So that potentially, if they don't mess it up again, will be crazy for them. So this is why, like, I get it, delay the game, but it's not the end of the world for Xbox. And this is the way a lot of these guys are talking. And the problem that I have with all of this is these are the same guys, and I go into all of these spaces, right? I'm a drama queen, just like Luca is, right? I'm in there just eating popcorn, listening to these people argue with each other, right? And these are
he likes poking people with sticks. You know, he likes being Jerry Springer. Oh, I see you don't like other people. Well, here's some other people. Go ahead and talk to them.
So again, these are the same people that argued with the PlayStation guys that told them exclusives matter. And they went around and said, most of what people play are third-party games. I'm eating good in Game Pass.
Speak on it.
Right? Indie games is where it's all at. I'm trying all these things that I never would have tried in Game Pass. All this is great. We good over here. All y'all just think the only games that exist are single-player first-party games, right? But gaming is bigger than that.
Lucius Augustus is asking you, did you play Tractor Yumi?
I'm still on Elden Ring. Elden Ring and Tunic here and there.
I think he was recreating that question.
Yeah. That's a funny thing. I don't know if you heard.
I know.
But again, so my question is, were you lying the last year and a half, or are you lying now? When you talk this, you got nothing to play now, and it's all over. Right? You said you didn't care about those big games, and multiplayer games is where everybody plays.
Yep.
Now, because every time an acquisition happened, dudes get excited. What you getting excited for if exclusives don't matter?
Right.
They about to kill it.
Right. So secretly admit you were jealous this whole time. Mm-hmm. Secretly, you wish you had what was
there
on
are
the
some
PlayStation
there are
5
some in our community who will buy consoles and leave them in the box because there's no exclusive to play.
We're looking at you.
I mean,
we're looking at you there, Machado. I'm saying
COD gets attacked for hashtag just one.
Just one. That's right.
Like attacked. Like we don't need that. We don't need that.
Yeah,
let them do that over there. We don't need that over there.
Yes, we do.
But you get hype. Can you imagine Call of Duty being exclusive in Game Pass? Oh my God. So what's more important?
100%.
Right. You shouldn't be affected by it. You shouldn't be affected by this delay.
The way you were talking the last year and a half, you should be good.
Yeah.
But secretly, I think we can see where the minds really were. And that's my issue. Those are my words to my fellow Xbox brethren. And everybody knows me.
What about this?
And
this
Machado,
this is one that always gets me too. They better bring it with this show in the summertime.
Like it's the end. If they don't, it's bad.
They're out of here. Like they're wrapping it up. Or you're going somewhere. You sit your ass down. You ain't going nowhere. You'll wait for the next show.
Exactly.
So Machado is saying he's looking for a true next gen experience, which that is another argument. We can have a conversation about that because there has not been a true next gen. I will give you that. It's all right. At least on Xbox's side, I'll say there has not been a quote unquote true next gen experience. I feel
unless you count Flight Sim, but.
Or what? What's the other one that by Smilegate?
No, just Flight Sim. But again, so
I'm sorry, I'm being messy.
Messy, boy, messy.
So anyway, but that's my point. Like the way these are my people, right? So
You can complain about what you want. You complain about it because you want it to be better. Like, you want more. So you can say there's a problem.
I do think they deserve smoke for right now. Now, one silver lining, right? Mm-hmm. History doesn't repeat itself, but it rhymes. So they say, right? We were having the same conversation about the lineup last year, where in the first 6 months of the year, like from the launch to the first 6 months of 2021, it was dry as hell on Xbox.
Yep.
Right? In terms of first party releases, right? And then starting in June, it was like the Blitzkrieg, right? Every month there was a notable title, and that goes for Starfield. So not Starfield, Flight Sim. They started with Flight Sim. They did Psychonauts. They did The Ascent. 12 minutes. I know it's a small game, but it had a lot of eyeballs on it. And then they roll into Forza and Halo. So it was the second 6 months that they really delivered on content last year, and that is what ended up giving them Publisher of the Year.
Yep.
So
we can't level set and say that's probably not gonna happen this year though.
Well, we know they're not winning Publisher of the Year this year.
Let's just throw that out there real quick.
But again, my thing is 2022 is a wash, at least in terms of first party, and
I don't agree with that. We shall see in June.
Hopefully, we will see in June that they have.
I think there will be at least two. Mark it now. I think that I don't know what level, what version of A's you want to add to it. I think there will be two Xbox-backed exclusives this year.
I think one of them is going to be from In Exile. Did you see that tweet where they showed the X and like that hole is mine, as in the hole to fill?
Two.
So again, we'll
come back in June and I'll be like, told y'all. It may not be as good as Starfield, but hey,
hold on. I'm doing it again. Wait for E3.
Wait for that. Wait for it.
But again,
we all gonna be waiting for E3 now.
Right. That's right. But I do think that there's still a world where they have a bunch of titles to play this year, and it starts with that show, right?
They got 30 plus teams, man.
That is a turnaround that you could see. I know these games are delayed, but if they needed to be delayed, that's it. Yep. Worry about if they're giving you anything to play. And if there's nothing for you to play, there's other boxes out there.
So I have one last question for you, Mr. Everborn Saga, and I'll throw it to you as well, E, and then we can close up this great show. We're around 2 hours now. In June, after the show is said and done, if we adjourn at this table and there was nothing of note that saves this, and I am wrong, and they don't have first party games for you this year, can we then agree that there's a management problem with the way they allocate their funds, allocate their resources when this game is coming out? Is there a problem with those with vision making sure they dole out the games on time? Is there a problem there with Microsoft? I don't think today that's a conversation we should have, because you don't know. It's half the story. After June, how they come back from this hole that they've dug themselves, I think that'll be very telling in answering that question. But
I'll let you go first, because I'm trying to take a holistic view on that question.
Yeah,
it's an interesting one.
I'm pretty close to being there next. I think we already have evidence that they have a management issue. When you look from the initiative to 343 to now,
have that conversation.
I think there's already something going on management wise. And that's why I was going to ask you guys the question, like with the hands-off approach. I know that's like the meme, the hands-off approach. Mm-hmm. This announcement of the delay right before June, because we knew about the June show, and now they're announcing Starfield's going to be delayed, which was supposed to be this year. I could see if Starfield was a 2023 game and they were like, hey, we're not going to really have too much to talk about at the June show for Starfield, but that was supposed to be coming. So people are already ramped up expecting to see some major stuff around this game. So was this a thing where they're planning the June show, which they've already been working on? They had been working on, because that's right around the corner. Was there like a last this was supposed to be the highlight of the show, but this game ain't necessarily ready. Mm-hmm. But the management, nobody's communicating, nobody's talking.
30 some odd teams. Where's your plan B? Where's your plan C?
Right.
So maybe they do have it.
Yeah, so to answer your question, post the June show, we may have some
things
to talk about.
That's right.
Well, we will, one way or the other. It's going to either be a great conversation,
or it's like, what's going on? Yes,
right.
Yes,
right.
Yes. Seriously, that's where we are now. Like, I will agree, and I know people don't like it when this is brought up, but I will say that because of where they've dug themselves now, it makes that show a lot more important for them to see where they come out at the end of this ball.
I feel like it's made it less important to me because I'm not going to believe any dates at the show.
Well, but I've said it again, though. I've said it again. It's not
around that. Like Xbox fans to really be honest about it. I don't need Xbox cappers who want to keep moving the goalposts.
That's right.
Let's have the real conversation about it, because it's fine to have that. If you really truly care about something, it's beautiful to have those conversations, good or bad. Give them props when they deserve it. Give them the smoke when they need it.
Yep.
Yeah.
No, I agree.
So, I'll
let you have the last word, Everborn. Go.
Yeah. Part of this, I don't want to say definitively that part of this, but I'll ask what part of this is that we are getting just too much information. There's no like Microsoft leaks like a sieve, right? Nothing. It is a vault at Nintendo and Sony. Right? Like they're more secretive than the MCU and Kevin Feige. Right? Yeah. So even if there are issues over there, you just won't know it.
Yeah, like Nintendo, same thing. You find out now they're going through the same issues, but we've been talking about Activision, Blizzard, and Microsoft and all these for a long time. Nintendo's been out there secretive as heck. Finally, a news story comes out that's starting to, besides Xbox, you're right. Every one of these other companies, it's in their best interest to give you the least amount of details possible.
Now, I think that's the flip side of the community Twitter presence that Microsoft has fostered since 2013, having to fix their stuff. So they've leaned into the fact that people say, well, they're so, they're approachable. They're there. Like
they have the people.
Sometimes you need to sit back and just shut up and not share.
This is probably why what we were discussing a little while ago. This is probably why they pulled the strings of Yoshida and said, "Hey, you sit down. We don't want anybody out there answering questions."
There was a time where Sony did talk a little.
They were out there,
and all of a sudden it was like,
yes,
done.
100%, 100%.
And again, so this and K Mega was talking about this on. Shout out to K Mega. He was talking about this on GRG last night, where he was saying, in like big AAA games, the nature of them is that they get delayed. And a lot of them try not to tell you the date until the last possible instance, right? And a lot of so all these delays aren't a problem, but the perception is the problem. And then the question is, does that perception only exist in the Twitter sphere, or does that permeate to the larger public? Right. And I want, so we, on the one hand, we say we don't want crunch, and we want, not saying that like crunches, they're not crunching, so that's not why they're getting these things out. But what I am saying, like, we get all this information, and maybe we don't want to know how the sausage is made. Right.
And you know what?
I say that we do, but we really don't. And we say that we care about crunch, but if you put out a Last of Us 2, you could crunch all you want, Captain Crunch.
And not just that, Everborn, but it's like there is something to that. There is something to working hard, getting something out, and doing something. But then you sending out pictures at brunch. Go to brunch, have fun, enjoy your. I'm all for people enjoying the job, but it's like, yeah, we had to delay this, or this came out buggy, but you had brunch.
Hey,
so you had brunch, man, and you delivered that game like this. Optics. It's a straight optics.
Okay.
It's like
so. This has been a great conversation. I'm going to round this out.
But last thing, I just want to say one last thing.
Please,
right?
Go ahead.
So we are seeing a little bit of how the sausage is made.
Yeah.
Now, if en masse with all these problems, and guess what? Every company has problems. my company is number one in the world at what they do, and it is a shit show if you look inside of it. I won't say what the name of the company is online, but these things are true. And Kay, you work for a very, very big company as well, so I'm sure you would probably agree. So, but because we are so attentive to this, we hear about it now. If en masse with all these things, just because they leaked, there's probably a similar number of problems.
I'm just going to leave this news story here. We're not going to talk about it. I'm just going to leave it here. Continue. Keep talking.
Right. So again, we hear about all these things, but en masse, if the delivery hasn't happened yet, so complain all you want, but rightfully so. But once they start delivering, if en masse, even with the blunders, they start to deliver, then I think that we just have to accept that, listen, they're more transparent. We're seeing how the sausage is made, and some of this stuff we're going to hear that's good, and we're going to judge it on the results when we get them. So what I think, unfortunately, I'm gonna sound like a meme, right? Mm-hmm. You're fully okay to be upset that this year is trash, because it is so far.
But next year's gonna be a banger.
But I hate to say it, but again, we're talking about a year where,
come on, say it. You know you want to. Just say it.
Activision will close. Call of Duty, at least the backlog, will be in Game Pass.
Can you at least take the cap off before you say that? Just take the cap off for a moment when you say that. Just for a moment.
Right? No. But Overwatch and Diablo were released that year as well and go into Game Pass. Mm-hmm. And then on top of that, you'll have whatever games got delayed out of this year into next year. And at that point, all those things are going to happen. And everybody's going to say Xbox finally woke up, but it actually took years to get to that point. And it sucks that it's not this year. And that's trash. And if you, and how about this? Let Microsoft and Phil Spencer and whoever else, obviously respectfully, but let them feel the smoke. So that they never do this again.
They deserve it, and that's why people have the right to complain.
And right? I don't think it's the end for them in a lot of regards, because people don't understand. Yeah, people want more acquisition. You can't acquisition enough for fans.
No, Gabe, right? I'm not surprised.
But people don't understand.
No, but I still need Sega though. I hear you, E, but I need Sega. They can stop after that.
But what I was gonna say, people don't know how much that is to take that on.
The one thing I really hate about people talking about all this is all of the darn acquisition talk, but we still need Sega though. I'm just saying.
Yeah, we absolutely need Sega. Hey, no. Now, what E said is very important, and we can end on this.
Yes.
If they are struggling with XGS and Bethesda, why are we confident that they're going to be able to turn the ship of Activision around?
Of Activision Blizzard.
That's what I was saying. People were thinking it's unicorns and rainbow. Oh, now, granted, Activision is a hot mess, and just by optics, it seems like going into Microsoft, their world will be a little bit better. But again, that's a huge acquisition of a lot of HR stuff happening there that you're going to pull in. And I know people, I'm going to shout out Colin Moriarty. He says it all the time. People get mad at him because they think he's a PlayStation fanboy and all this other stuff. But what he's saying is true. Is like, people don't understand the headache that you're bringing on to try to get to these IPs and this other stuff. But there's a massive headache that you have to take on. And now it's yours. It's all yours.
Yeah, unlike Bethesda, that came pretty much as a well-oiled machine. They just needed resources. These guys need tutelage that you might not be able to provide.
Right.
Yeah, that's real serious.
People don't want to look at it that way. They think automatically these people Monday morning after the acquisition, like life is going to
everything's good to go now. No, not necessarily.
It takes a long time through a lot of that stuff. You may not get through all of it.
We will end this story, but as we'll end this episode. But as Everborn was saying, you don't want to see how the sausage gets made. I will leave.
I do want to see how the sausage is made. I just don't think all of us are mature enough.
Here's the problem, right? Like the story that I am not bringing up that's on the screen tells you some of the problems with seeing how the sausage gets made. But I'll leave that to another time for us to communicate. We might talk about this on some spaces.
I'm wearing my big boy pants.
Yeah, I love.
Hey, can I say one thing before we get? Guys, I'm not saying Colin's not a fanboy, but a lot of people are fanboys of everything and say crazy stuff. I'm not disregarding that he's a fanboy. He says it himself. He is a PlayStation guy, but I'm saying it doesn't mean that what he's saying is wrong.
True.
Just because he's talking about Microsoft.
Listen, I'm an Xbox guy, right? I like to think that people think that I'm fair in what I say in my assessments of these things,
right? You can be a fan of something and still accurately judge things.
Exactly.
I hope that that's the case. You don't have to be a fake neutral. You can have your favorites or whatever, but we can still be objective. Now, whether Colin wasn't objective in what he's saying, like I say, broken clocks. So he could have been right.
Exactly. And
I don't know the quote, but I'm just saying,
hanging on everything. People, I mean, somebody can put something out there. You can agree, disagree. It's an opinion, but I'm not saying. But all I'm saying is in terms of it's not going to be this. It's a beautiful Monday because we got acquired and all our problems went away.
Everything goes away.
Hey,
no.
Kay Asante, can I say something?
Microsoft taking on.
Please.
You know, me and Kay Asante, we actually got into like an almost heated argument about this when it was first announced. And my concern, because I never really wanted Activision. I was never out there talking about it like that, right?
You wanted Activision? No,
I wanted Sega, right? I said it. The first thing I tweeted was, how many Segas did this cost, right? But
many Segas, many Segas.
But the thing that I was trying to point out was that an org chart is not going to save you, right? Just because they're under Microsoft Gaming now.
Well, okay, I'll push back on one thing. One thing about that, I agree with you. No. Your point is valid. Your point is valid. Like you said before, you said an org chart does not automatically.
No. But I'm saying ultimately, I don't want, because Activision Blizzard King actually has more employees than Xbox Game Studios and Bethesda combined. I don't want Xbox Game Studios to get overshadowed, and this whole thing at Xbox or Microsoft Gaming becomes the Activision show.
Yeah, no, I get you on that. Where I'm pushing back on you is I agree with you more now than I did before as far as getting them back on track from a business perspective, right? Getting things done on time, making things work on time. I still think from a moral standpoint, it's good that Microsoft is leading their initiatives. Why? Because from a morality standpoint, even when they fall flat on their face, because that's when you know what they are, right? How they respond when they fall flat on their faces. I have seen them respond better than most, right? So you want Activision Blizzard King to get to a place where morality is not in question, and then we can focus on business. Business, we have a problem, we have concerns, I'm there with you, right? Just because the new org chart is there doesn't magically solve any problem. The problem where I do push back on you guys on this though is the problem I have with this is it's not just a business play, it's also a morality play, right? Everyone needs to see Activision Blizzard King come to the other side of that, and I think Microsoft can help them in that. Now, will that automatically mean they'll produce better stuff and they'll be on time and this and that? That I'm not so sure about. And as we can see here, Microsoft is proving that they themselves don't have that worked out like well either. So clearly it's the blind leading the blind when it comes to that part.
I guess they figure if you have enough development stuff in the pipeline, the delays won't matter because there'll always be something.
Eventually they'll do something coming up. That's right.
In 2026.
They're trying to bum rush the process by just throwing as many resources as they possibly can at it. And so far it hasn't been working great, but we will leave the conversation there. Mr. Eric Jackson, it's been a pleasure having you here. I am surprised this is the first time we've had you here. We definitely must have you back on, sir. Thank you so much.
You,
tell the fine folks now that unfortunately we will not be able to catch your thoughts on BRAP. Where else can they find you? Where can they keep up with all your goings on the internet?
Yeah, you can find me always on Twitter, EC Jackson with an X, and most, I'll have gaming takes on there, but most of the time I just try to keep it light and keep people laughing and have some fun observations about stuff because it gets too heavy in there over games. Games are supposed to be chilling. They have differences of opinion, but it's not life or death. It's all good. But also you can find me Gaming Perspective Podcast, and I will still be guesting on BRAP. I just had to shuffle some things around, and adulting can start taking over, stuff like that. But no, I appreciate you guys having me, man. This has been great. Chat, it's been great. And I'll definitely be back if you guys will have me.
Oh, 1,000. Listen, I told you we're trying to get you the contract. And you know why I appreciate you? There was not one mention of this PC talk when Slow-Mo came out.
You're not gonna get that from me. I'm console through and through, man.
There we go. See,
I'm just
gonna be the closest I come to probably PC gaming anytime in the near future is grabbing a Steam Deck.
No, they're never gonna ship mine.
He's just angry because Valve will never send him his.
Okay, so now we have to shift. Will Microsoft start delivering games, or will I get the Steam Deck first? Which one?
I think you'll get your Steam Deck before the next Microsoft first-party game comes out.
I don't know.
Unfortunately, I think so because you are Q2, which is between April and September. Yeah, you're definitely getting your Steam Deck before the next first-party.
Listen, I feel like Bethesda is going to announce that I'm not getting the Steam Deck this year.
Bethesda's going to come out and say, "Look, it was a hard decision."
In a GIF.
He's been talking too much ish.
You're gonna get it the same day Starfield comes out.
Mm-hmm. He's been talking too much madness. We've pushed Everborn Saga's Steam Deck out to when Starfield releases, which will be in 2029.
Christ.
But all right, Mr. Everborn Saga, I know you've been busy this week. Hopefully you get back to some gaming. Hopefully the monkey of Elden Ring gets off your back. Even Boomstick is now. He took the Everborn monkey, the Elden Ring monkey off his back, and then put the Halo Infinite monkey on his back. He's always
back in there in season 2.
Yes. What are you doing this week? How can people communicate and keep up with your?
I'm gonna be on Xbox University's channel in a little while to argue with him about this stuff. We had a disagreement in one of the spaces, and
he's all over the place with this one. I can't wait for that episode.
But I don't know what time that's gonna be. I gotta. It might be. Well, it's not going to be right now because we got to go take these dogs to training. But other than that, everybody knows I'm Everborn Saga everywhere. That's anywhere you type in Everborn Saga, you'll find me. But go to everbornsaga.com. You can get these amazing books that we produce. And come check us out, man. If you have not gotten it, stop slacking. Check it out. You go to the website. It'll sell you on what we got to offer. So I thank everybody and see you when I see you.
Thank you so much. So this is the end of the episode. We are so thankful for all of you who've stayed glued to us this whole time. We had almost about 45 some odd people in here. We really appreciate you. The chat's been lively the whole time. If you have not hit the like button yet, please do so on your way out. If you haven't subscribed yet, please consider doing so. We're going to keep pushing forward to try to hit 1,000 subscribers before the end of this year. And it's so awesome to have these continuing conversations. You can find me TK Asante, Xbox, Twitter, PlayStation, everywhere you can find communications being had. I'm always there trying to have more conversations with the community. So thank you guys so much for sticking with us and having a great conversation this week. We will continue this conversation on socials, on Twitter. I'm sure there'll be some spaces and this and that. And that latest news with the whole Jedi Fallen Order thing is probably going to be a topic of conversation coming up. So I look forward to chatting with some of you guys in those spaces. But until next week, I say thank you guys. Have a safe weekend, and we will see you guys next week. Have a good one.